with Chris Watts, they were saying, could that be the first time he killed someone? His case, yes, I believe it was. And Family Annihilators, yeah, I believe it is their first time. But it's so weird to say, someone's just going to go from nothing to 4 people, right? Just 4 people.
Yeah, not even a small crime, right? He didn't even have larceny or petty, some petty crime on his record. I mean, speeding ticket, right?
Mm-hmm.
About his biggest, so it takes, I think, a lot to go from. It would be like any one of us just waking up one day, and unless he was, again, like, maybe his mental health. You know what I would even say? Maybe his mental health was deteriorating, because we know that, like, men sometimes get schizophrenia. Males get schizophrenia in their mid-20s a lot of the times. Like, they start to. But when you hear him speak, he doesn't sound.
No, and he seems very happy to be where he is, doesn't he? He doesn't seem like he's like pleading, like, get me out of here, what the hell's going on? And
Ted Bundy, actually. You know how Ted Bundy was very smug and happy to be in the courtroom? He thought that was the biggest thrill of his life,
Yeah.
So he does remind me a lot of that.
I just don't see it. Hi, everybody that's live. We're just brainstorming here, trying to figure out some things that are probably plaguing maybe a bunch of you. And if you want to call in with us, let me know. Or you can just sit here and reply in the chat what you think to whatever we're trying to figure out. That would be great. And I'm sorry that I set 2 lives by accident, but I'm going to delete the other right now so nobody will get in that one. There. Where'd Steve go?
He's here. Oh, he's just muted.
Oh, no, wait. Maybe he went to get something. Went to get a drink or something. Okay, so I'm confused. And what I said, guys, is that how did he see her and walk away? And then how did he leave the sheath? We're saying if he's coming out, he's definitely got the knife, because the knife's not found there. It's bloody. Deborah keeps saying that the tip breaks off in these knives, but they haven't let off that the tip was broken off. What if the tip did break off in one of them? But he would still have the knife.
Mm-hmm.
Is he not going to say, where's the sheath?
He must know he left the sheath, because he's carrying the knife, but he wasn't carrying the knife when he came in.
And I doubt he wants to walk, down the street.
And
if he parked right above, so he goes out the sliding doors and he parked on that road, gets in his car, and he's speeding away at a high rate of speed. And then there was a very...
want the sheath so he could just tuck it in there and put it under his seat and not leave a whole bunch of blood DNA all over his car. Because the sheath would essentially protect any blood from the knife from depositing on the carpet in his car, or wherever he sticks it, or even in his clothing. So that's why I'm thinking he has to know he left that sheath.
Hi, Barb and everybody. Hi,
but he
everybody.
probably has no idea where it is.
That's what I'm thinking.
But he probably has no idea where he left it.
And he probably has no idea where he left it.
Right.
Okay, so let's see what the chat's saying. The chat's saying, Shelley Joe said, I think he thought since his face was mostly covered, Dylan wouldn't be able to identify him. And Slam says he was walking down the hall and passed her and did not see her because he was froze and he was in a frenzy. And see, Steve agrees with you on that he had tunnel vision and he was on an adrenaline thing, and he just made us watch a girl shoot a deer and shaking from adrenaline. Hi, Bergstrong. You're concerned about people bashing Dylan. Yeah, we're not bashing her. Nobody's asking to bash her at all. Exactly. You're that's not going to happen here. Hi, Barb, Deb, Chris Ree, Margot, Jean G. Thank you for joining us. Janae, Judy.
Kevin says we're all echoing, but you.
Oh my gosh. Really? Okay, let me see what I can do. Let me see if I just do another setting. So let me see. How about now? Can you guys talk?
Are we still echoing?
How is it now? Is it any better now?
Yes. Are we echoing?
Yeah, they say that we are, but I'm trying a different setting on here, and I just know which one. Is that better?
Are we still echoing?
Better or worse? Still echoing? Okay. Is it better or worse? Is it any change? Okay. How about
Still echoing.
now? Is it better now?
Still echoing or no?
What about now?
Oh, yeah, still I can hear it.
Yeah, okay, let's see. Let me try something else. We need somebody in sound. Let me see.
Video reel says, do you have small speakers turned on?
Do I have small? Yeah, I have small speakers turned on. I mean, my speakers. They're only my speakers. Okay, how about now? No better? All right, let me see.
He says, lift mic, please.
Lift the mic up. Okay. Is that better?
How does it sound
Is-
now?
Oh, something happened. I think I muted my mic. No? Why does it look like we have no? Okay.
We're all echoing.
Is
but
it
you-
any better now? Now something's like real windy. Okay.
How about now?
Is it any better now? Talk. Oh, the people talk, he
The
said.
way you, he says the way you used to have it. Lifted high, tilted down. Somebody else?
Is it any better now?
Hello, hello.
Judy's saying yes. So I don't know whether you're saying yes, no. Is it any better now? Oh, thank you, Al.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Is it any
No
better
problem.
now?
Hello.
Keep the mic's reverb. Okay, is it? It's
Are
much
we
better
still
now?
echoing?
They're saying it's better.
It's better now, they're saying.
Okay.
Yeah,
You need the
they're
people
saying-
on panel to talk.
Yes, it's fine.
Okay. All right, so let's get back to this. Where is Steve? Steve, where are you?
He's on mute, but
I'm here.
Oh, okay. You're not going to join us anymore? All right. So, yeah. So I was just telling them you had me watch that deer thing. You want to explain about what you're saying? Like he's on that.
Yeah, there's a video. It's been on YouTube for years, decade or more, and it's a young girl who has shot a deer, and it's her first time hunting, and she's trembling uncontrollably, and we call that buck fever. It looks like you're shivering, and when somebody, even adults have this happen, the first time they kill an animal, there's an uncontrollable biological response to that can cause you to have tunnel vision and tremors, and your eyes will bug, you don't blink. It's pretty common, and it diminishes over time. The more you go hunting, the less likely it is to happen. But quite often, the first time somebody shoots an animal hunting, they have a reaction that they can't control. It's, well, taking an animal's life is a thing. And when you process that through your brain, even if your brain is dysfunctional, your body kind of takes over. It's the same thing that happens in firefights with the military. And they get tunnel vision. They don't see anything except right down the gun sight. And as soon as the danger situation's over with, some people cannot break out of that. And it's one of those things that normal people it's a component of PTSD. So it's very plausible that this guy committed these crimes. He did it quickly. It was certainly violent. His plan was likely disrupted, and it's very likely that he was going through a similar situation where his body was just jacked up, adrenaline flowing, eyes bugging out, maybe even trembling, and he had tunnel vision. And some people, I bet in the chat, have experienced tunnel vision. It happens in danger situations all the time. If a car runs a stop sign and almost hits you, you get charged all of a sudden, and for 30 seconds, it's difficult to regain your composure. And people talk about tunnel vision in accident situations all the time. It's not something you can control. It's something that just happens.
But I just think, I don't know, I'm really conflicted with that door, her door being where it was, like I said, and him just going, everywhere but that door, up the stairs, down the stairs in front of the door, then he goes down into the living room, down another hallway to go into a bedroom, all the way at the end, comes out of there after killing 2 people, goes past her door again, and out the sliding glass door. And never looking at that door, even though she was opening that door 3 times. I just...
Well, we only have 2 possibilities, right?
He saw her or he didn't, yeah.
Well, let's take it back a few steps. 2 possibilities. He went there to kill Maddie and Zana.
Mm-hmm.
And the other 2 got in his way.
Right.
Or he went there to kill just Maddie, since that's where he went first. And the other 2 interrupted him making his exit.
But if that was the thing, okay, and he did see the other girl, he would have killed her too.
I believe he would have, yes. I think that she opened her door in the gap. It's possible that the young man heard noise, stepped out, and as he's coming out, they make eye contact. Maybe they retreat to the bedroom and he pursues. That's a very likely scenario, is that the killer saw Zana and Ethan and they tried to retreat. He pursued them, killed them, and now he's out of the house. I don't think he saw the girl. We have to keep going back to this number that's so significant. We have him on camera at 4:04 and again at 4:20, his car.
Mm-hmm.
That's only 16 minutes. And once you account for time from the car to the house and time from the house to the car, the most amount of time he could possibly have, even being generous, is 14 minutes. He killed 4 people in 14 minutes at maximum.
Right.
I'm guessing it's probably closer to 10 minutes that he was in that house. And
somebody say
yeah,
they found that footprint. That latent. Why would it be a latent footprint? Do you know why? How it would be? What would he have tracked other than blood that wouldn't have been visible to the eye, but then showed up in those protein tests?
Just moisture from walking across the ground. Latent just means it's not visible to the naked eye.
Right.
And so they might have fumed that entire house and one footprint popped up. So it could have been just moisture that collected, of whatever they're using these days. Do they still use super glue vapors?
You into the luminol, right? Is that what?
No, you can fumigate with. I don't recall.
I don't know what they use. They said it was that they put the protein that it was.
Luminol. Yeah, it any protein it reacts to. There's another chemical, I'm trying to think of what it does, that reacts to anything starch. So that you can pick up if there's spit somewhere or semen. Luminol will pick up semen because of the protein factor. But there's also superglue vapors. When you vaporize superglue, it attaches to invisible, shoe prints, fingerprints.
Right, they're
And
saying
it forms
superglue
a
for
solid
fingerprints, yeah.
surface then that they can come back and see. It's like the reverse of a shoe print, really. It's the mirror of it. So I'm guessing they probably fumed that house. And but the super glue, now it does everything that the other chemicals don't. Like it'll pick up oils, any kind of carbon product, anything that makes an impression, it'll attach to. But they specifically do that. Well, it's not just used in forensics either. It's a pretty interesting chemical because as it vaporizes and settles, it attaches to things that it normally would not attach to. Anything carbon-based, oil-based, the stuff that not blood. So they probably found that after the fact. They probably did some sort of treatment to the house, and that's when the shoe print was visible.
Okay, so, yeah, and it'll be interesting in which direction it is that will it right, which way was he coming. But he was going to go both ways past that door. See, people are going, oh, the door opens inside, or most bedroom doors do open inside. It's just that he didn't, I don't know, just...
Well, think about what you just saw with that little girl trembling in that other video. She may not even remember that.
Yeah,
And it's not
I
something
honestly, if that was my kid, I would be scared because I would be like, wow, I don't know, because I couldn't even look at that one, but that's how I am. I'm a big empath. I can't. If I had to kill an animal to eat it, I wouldn't be eating meat. That's just me, but I'd be living on plants and berries. It's just,
Hey, Carolyn, you know how you were talking about that Papa Roger?
yeah, the Papa
person?
Roger, yeah.
So I was thinking about the name Roger and like true crime, and I remember Elliot Roger? He was that incel kid that his father was a famous director. He killed a bunch of people out in California a couple of years ago.
Oh, I think I do, yeah.
He wrote a 120-page manifesto that I literally have it. I haven't read it all, but its basic themes are a hatred of girls for not being interested in him, him always feeling like brokenhearted. Also, anger at boys of his age that were more popular, that were able to get girls. So I'm wondering, because you know that name, Papa Roger, it just wasn't picked for no reason. There's some symbolism behind that. So that was the only Roger that I could kind of, within the last 20 minutes could think of. And whoever, we don't know who that was, right?
Right.
But, that was the one connection that I saw to Roger. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'm just going to tell the chat, if you don't know what we're talking about, Papa Roger, there was this guy in one of probably the largest Facebook group about this case on Facebook, and his name was Papa Roger, and he had an avatar of a classical soldier that kind of bears some similarities to Bryan, but definitely wasn't Bryan, okay? And the way this person wrote made you think he was the killer, okay? And he spoke about a knife sheath before anybody spoke about a knife sheath, starting back in November. and then asked really weird questions to people that asked, like, well, how do you know? And then he'd be like, well, how do you think he would have carried the knife? And you think he would have carried it in his hand? Well, which hand would he have carried it in? Almost like asking them, do you know whether the killer was right or left-handed? What do you know? And it was really weird, very, very weird. It just struck people the wrong way. And then after Bryan was arrested, that whole profile on Facebook was deleted. So then people were saying, well, maybe law enforcement deleted it, and it really was him. But it wasn't deleted by law enforcement. They, because law enforcement came out and said somewhere, right? Didn't Coffindoffer or somebody say that no profiles were deleted by law enforcement? And so then now people are saying, well, was it law enforcement throwing that sheath out there to see if people would bite on that? And it's just weird. It's just, when you look back on the post, it's eerie and weird. That's what, talking about that. Paladin said he would have worn his knife sheath on his belt. Okay, but then wouldn't he have looked to put it back in, Paladin, when he was done? And is he going to walk out with a knife dripping with blood, or is he going to put it in a sheath, or what's he going to do? He's got to get in his car. He's going to take that bloody knife and place that in his car?
That's assuming he had a belt on as well.
That's
You would
what
need
I
to
was
wear a belt. Yeah. So if he had on sweatpants or,
Yeah,
something
what if
like
he was
that.
just holding that sheath? He could hold it on his finger with it loop, put it in his jacket. Lots of things he could have. Didn't mean he had to wear a belt. It could have just been to protect the blade from cutting something.
Yeah, with all the craziness, it makes you wonder about everything in the case. And good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Crazy affidavit. Yeah, there's some stuff in there that just makes you go,
Do you think he saw her or not? Video real.
It's so hard to say, isn't it? Like, to speak for the others, that you try to speak for them in their place. It's,
Maybe
I
he felt
don't
the
know.
sheath was
If you read the affidavit over and over, it makes you think they did, to a degree. And then with him leaving the sheath behind as he has, it makes you question. It's not just the normal logical questioning of things like, why would someone so smart leave the sheath there? Not
Right.
just that. It's like, it's a lot of weirdness, because what you were touching base on, all the other chaos going on with this case, like on forums and Facebook and Reddit and this and that. It kind of does make you think, to question, to wonder, is there more to this that we don't even know? Maybe even more. Like, I don't even want to go into specifics, but it's so weird that he went through all this training and college and schooling and worked with some of the most renowned professors in the country, and the affidavit makes him look totally like an idiot. Like, it just, every step makes him look like an idiot.
see,
It's so
Paladin is
weird.
saying he
It's
thinks
like an
he left it on purpose.
oxymoron.
It's like he wanted to get caught.
Yeah,
So
it's like an
you think-
oxymoron. It's like you're doing everything opposite of what you should do.
So did he want to get caught? Like, I don't know. I keep going back and forth. Like, you can't have been through all of this and studied all of this and then asked all these people in the ex-con group, what got you caught? What did you do? What
That's
mistake
the
did you
weirdest
make?
thing. I think that's what makes this so mind-boggling now that we figured out who he is, and the training and the knowledge that he has. It just makes it even more mind-boggling of a case, because the more we read and learn, and then the more we put what we read and learn from the affidavit with the chaos on the side on forums and videos and family talking and stuff like that. It's just, there's so many questions.
I think he's just not as smart as everyone thought.
The chat's divided, so I'm going to do a poll. And because
I think personally too that if he wanted to be caught, let's just go with that theory, like, okay, I want to be caught. I think he would have done something more subtle and clever than leave the knife sheath. I mean, that's almost like, I mean, that to me was a mistake on his part. He set it down, and that's what I think. I think he went inside, he went upstairs first. He takes the knife out of the sheath, puts the sheath on the bed, commits the 2 murders. Let's assume that this is his first 2 people he's ever killed. I think he gets like that tunnel vision, that little bit of freak out. He doesn't think about picking the sheath up. He goes downstairs. For whatever reason, he commits the other 2 crimes. I don't necessarily know if he meant to, if he was going to do Santa and Ethan, or if they just happened to come out of the room and see him. But nonetheless, now he's killed 4 people. He wants to get out of there. I think he, as much fear as we think that Dylan is having, I think he's also like, I need to get out of here. I don't want to get caught. And I think he is a little bit in that little bit of a tunnel vision, almost a little panic of his own. And I think that he's thinking, where's the sheath? And he doesn't take any time to go look for it, which is, I mean, it's almost illogical, right? Like, he's only been in 2 rooms. Why would you not run right up the steps and
go get it and look if
And he
it's
doesn't,
there?
And
right?
go get it. Yeah, when you went to put the knife up, as soon as you went to put the knife right where it was supposed to go, why wouldn't that be what you thought of? The sheath. Where's the sheath?
Yeah, because I don't
And
think he
then
was
now-
with it without the sheath, and I just think it was a mistake, and I think he was panicked by the 4th kill. I think he was ready to get out of there, and even though he left the sheath behind, and I think he knew he left it, he had to have known.
Yeah, I don't know. You just think it would just be not like, what the heck am I gonna do with this knife? I gotta get out of here. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
And why not just run up the steps? You've only been in 2. I mean, literally. It's not like it's not like this massive crime scene. I mean, you've been in 1 bedroom upstairs and in 1 place downstairs, and you know it's not downstairs because you came downstairs with a knife. You didn't come downstairs with a knife and a sheath. So you've got to know what's up there.
So then it makes it sound like, oh my gosh, she's here. She might call the police. I don't have time to go up. So then
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
that leads
I
to
think-
thinking that he sees her.
I
But
think
then why
he's
would he
more
leave a
scared.
witness if it just, yeah, doesn't make
And
sense.
Yeah, I know,
also-
but why not just take care of her, right? Like, why leave her behind? I just think he was more panicked. I don't think he was thinking all that logically by killing the 4th person.
Maybe he
And
thought she called the police already.
That's what I'm saying,
And
is how
all-
to get the freak out of there, right? Or something?
Yeah.
But being that he killed these people so quickly, how quick would it be to take care of her if he was going to do that? But then the police are on their way, so yeah, I don't know. But I don't know.
Yeah,
And
it
he
doesn't
sped
make
away
sense.
Quickly. He left the scene quickly and sped away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think that even though his background and he studied criminology and he probably knows a few tricks, I think the reality of doing what he did was different than what he had trained for and fantasized about. And I think he got in a frenzy and all that went out the window. And I don't think he was thinking anything through then. I think the attack was fairly quick according to the timeline. And I think it was frenzied, quick, and he got sloppy and freaked out and sped away. I don't think and then he maybe realized he dropped it, wasn't sure where. His mind would have been going a million miles.
Maybe he thought he
You know-
left it in the car.
He just wouldn't be thinking. He'd be in a frenzied attack. All thought processes would have just flown. It's
I mean, if any of
just,
us have been in a stressful situation, just something silly, right? You know how you just like, your mind, you sort of lose a little bit of, your mind stops thinking at a higher level, right? You're just sort of like you said, tunnel vision, like, just let me get out of here, right? Like, I think that's what his mind was saying at that moment. Like, I just need to get the hell out of here. This girl saw me. I've just killed 4 people. And, I just got to get out of here, get in my car. Even to speed away, right? That's illogical, right? If you're going to kill 4 people, why not get in your car and drive away calmly, right? Like, why speed? Again, it just speaks to his, I think, that frenzied sort of that adrenaline that you would probably
I
be
agree.
dealing with at that moment, you know?
I agree, and I don't think he left it on purpose. I don't think he wanted to be caught, but I think the reality of what he did was different than what he planned for. And he didn't envision being in that state of mind.
Yeah,
I think he
agree.
thought he would have more control than what he did. And
Yep.
then, like you said, tunnel vision, and freaked out. And because look how quick that attack must have happened, where
I
he
know, it's
moved
surprising,
from
right?
one victim to another. It all happened very fast and frenzied. And I don't think he left. I don't think he wanted to get caught. I think he wanted to get away with it and prove to himself that he could get away with it after all that schooling, training, criminology stuff. Well, that's how I feel about it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a
At the-
knife person. I've collected knives since I was 7 or 8 years old. I've never been without a pocket knife. So I have a couple of hunting knives, and I can't make that work. I've thought about this since this came out, and I've thought about everybody I know that knows knives, and I can't make that work at all. It's the stupidest thing to have a sheath on a knife unless that sheath is on your belt and you put the knife in the sheath. To have it around the blade is the equivalent of taking cookies to a potluck and showing up with the oven mitt in your hand.
But it's so
It's
sharp
that
because I know
ridiculous.
this happened to me. Listen, I had a knife similar to that, okay? And it's so sharp that it was in a leather sheath, and I took it out to show it to somebody, and I was in, at that time I had a GMC Envoy XL, leather seats on the bottom, and just like I kept it in the car, but in the sheath because I didn't want, it would just by passing over that leather on the bottom, it just sliced it. That's how sharp it was. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was glad it was on the bottom, like it was on the very underside of the seat. But I said, oh my gosh. And that's why then I was like paranoid to keep that in that sheath because it was so freaking sharp. I have that. It was a Schrade. And it had like a curved, and it was like a razor. So I would never not keep that knife in that sheath. Even if
That's why
I
I don't
wasn't wearing it on a
understand why
belt.
he
It was
left it.
kind of like a protective cover.
Exactly.
But
Why
what-
had
what
even,
if-
even more is why did he leave it? You know, the knife is still sharp. I mean, yeah, he just did kill 4 people. It's probably a little less sharp, but you know, that again, it speaks, you know, if he brought it in, why didn't he take it out? I think it was just it's his fatal mistake, I think.
I mean, if you have the sheath on the blade and you're running across the lawn, you go in the back door, you go up the stairs, you go through the bedroom, you pull the sheath off of the knife, and he got in a scuffle, obviously, with somebody there. I mean, what are the odds that it would be just laying on the bed beside one of the bodies, as opposed to I dropped it during the scuffle and it lands anywhere other than the bed? It's just for him to be thinking of keeping that thing in a sheath is where I'm having trouble with. I guess this is something you could toss out, is that because of that particular knife, I mean, that's a knife that I would never have in my collection. I've had one from an Army surplus store before, and they're really good if you're like, you know, a kid and you're out in the woods and you just want to like dig a hole in the ground with a knife. You can do that. They're just not real good knives for much of anything. But the fact that it is a very specific knife that is issued in the military, that one specifically has the Marine logo on it. Is it possible that he was thinking of making it look like ex-military person had done this? He deliberately left it behind to throw the cops off to be looking for some military person?
No, because if you wanted to get caught, you'd leave more, you'd just leave the knife. You just
Right.
leave the pot.
I
You
mean, it
wouldn't
could be
think-
one he's on for 10 years.
You know, you wouldn't have acted the way he acted. It was an accident. I
You wouldn't
think he
leave
dropped it.
the knife behind at all. I disagree with that. No, I mean, that's, again, you have to go back to this time. This is not a guess, it's not speculation. We know that at 4:04, he tried to park his car near King Road and was unsuccessful and left. And then we know at 4:20, a camera picked up the car leaving King Road at a high speed.
No, I meant
So,
if he wanted to get
That's
caught.
16 minutes. And you have to account for the fact that he had to get to the house and then back to his car. So,
Uh-huh.
I mean, we're talking about just minutes. He did all of this in just minutes.
Yeah, you just take the time and divide it, you know, between the 4 victims.
And I
about
meant
3
if
minutes
he
a
wanted
victim.
to get caught.
And
he
it
would have
is.
just left the knife.
Well, and it's 16 minutes is the total amount of time that the
I know.
cameras have him between cars. Somewhere near the scene.
Right.
That first 4:04, that's not when he went in. His car
Right.
left.
That's right.
So
That's right.
we got to take away at least another minute or two there.
So you
It's
wanted to
possible
get
that he was
caught?
committing murders upstairs while Zaina was on TikTok. She was on TikTok at 4:12.
Right.
And
He was,
so
definitely.
we can say maybe he was already in the act of murder, but if he wasn't, now we're talking, this whole thing happened in about 4 to 6 minutes.
Are you saying he wanted to get caught?
No. I
No,
don't
that's
think
why
he
I
was-
said.
What the
I think
time
it
does,
when
what the
Carolyn
time does.
said- When Carolyn said, do you think he wanted to get caught? That's when I said he would have just left the knife. If he wanted to get caught, he would have left the knife.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Or
Yeah, that's, and
his
you
mask
said you
or-
disagreed.
I thought
And
you were
you said
saying
you disagreed.
that I disagreed with you because I thought you said, I had just made the statement, leaving the sheath behind. Maybe
No,
he's
no, I
trying to
think
frame
that was an
another
accident.
person, and I
I think
misunderstood
that
you.
was an accident. That he left the sheath was an accident.
Yeah, I don't think it was purposeful at all, because he did things to conceal himself. Think about this, he wore a mask, he turned his phone off. You know, he did do things to try to, you know, it's not that he just went there in just his, you know, regular regalia with, you know, and just said, catch me if you can. So that's why I think it was a mistake, because he did things to conceal his identity. He wouldn't have done
Yes.
those measures if he didn't
That's-
care if he got caught.
It
Right.
certainly seems that if this was deliberately trying to throw the police off by using a Marine Corps insignia sheath, which
Yeah,
that's
but,
what the
but why
sheath
open it
has.
with your bare hand? You know what I mean? Like, to me, you know, leave it behind but with none of your DNA on it.
But yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is the mistake he made is they
Yeah.
found DNA on that. But it's interesting that they only got DNA from,
The knife sheath snap.
Well,
well,
that's
the
all they've
clasp,
told us so far.
not the
That's all
sheath
they said.
itself, but
Like,
just
yeah,
that little
the
button,
snap,
that
that
snap.
snap, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe he just didn't get it clean.
Hard to handle saying he came back for that knife at 9:30. Well, it was before 9:30, but I don't think that's what he came back for at that time. When he was going there, I think he was going to see what the heck's going on. Couldn't believe like the police hadn't been called and that there wasn't some big news yet.
Absolutely.
Especially since DM saw him at 4 o'clock in the morning, right? So, because he's probably thinking in his mind, the girl saw me leaving. Why did, you know, it's 9 o'clock. How could,
What the
you know,
heck?
how
Why
could
aren't I
not
hearing
heard yet?
anything?
Well, like,
Exactly.
you know, arsonists will light fires and sit back with the crowd and watch it burn. Or
Right,
they'll
and watching
do-
firefighters.
or will-
Yep.
will return to the scene that commit crimes. So maybe he just wanted to drive by to see what was, anybody, police were there, or,
Well, and I
You
think he
know?
was confused as to why police hadn't been called, because he's left knowing that the one roommate, DM, did see him,
Yep.
Or at least he at least he thinks, I saw that door open, somebody saw me. Why didn't anybody, why is it 9 o'clock in the morning? It's what, 5 hours after the crime was committed at least, right?
Yeah.
Right? So why haven't I
Yes.
heard anything about this yet? He's probably
Right.
getting
Yes.
a little irritated that,
Yeah.
his handiwork hasn't been, in
No.
the national news yet.
Yes, I agree.
I agree too.
How do you know he can run 7 miles? But he's not gonna. He lives. You're saying why did he park his car so close he can run 7 miles?
Because he doesn't want to run 7 miles.
He doesn't want to run
probably
7 miles
like
after killing 4 people.
4 people. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm surprised that he didn't know that next door house had a camera. You would have thought with all the surveillance, what did he say?
Or that
he
his
was there
apartment had a
12 times?
camera, or that there were cameras along the way, or yeah.
Right, like, again, for someone so smart, he just did some silly mistakes, but I am surprised that house being only 50 feet away. Cameras are pretty.
They talked about him being a
again,
jogger. I don't know who. Yes, who talked about it?
Are the cameras visible on that house, by the way? Like, I didn't look into that. I don't know,
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I mean, and so if he's
Usually,
looking for them, yeah.
even if they're small, you would think that he would have had the forethought to look around and say,
I've heard a
I'll
lot
leave
about
that
this
house there.
running, Tammy, but I just haven't seen a lot about it from like real credible stuff. But except a friend, right? And there's I'm very wary of insiders that come forward. I am, because there's so many fake people that do that. And then even if it is a real person, they embellish a lot of stuff. So I take all that with a grain of salt. Hard to handle? I'm not paranoid at all. I'm just very wanting to know where sources are from. That's all. That's nothing about being paranoid. That's fact checking.
Yeah, that was only
One
person
channel
that said
talked
he was
about
a
him
runner.
jogging. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. That's a channel.
If he was a
and they can
jogger,
say
you
anything
would
they
think
want.
that he would, right, it would have been a lifelong, people that run seem to be lifelong runner, that it's like a passion there. You would think that he
Yes,
would be
it definitely is a
doing it
passion
daily.
for some.
I will say
Cameras
though,
and
there was also something I saw today that I didn't know. There was a picture from his yearbook, his high school yearbook,
Doing
where he
push-ups.
was in like a junior's military, like an
No,
ROTC
it's
program.
the police. I showed it yesterday. It's
Oh.
from high school, and it was some kind of a police program, and he was in it doing push-ups.
Yeah, I saw something of him like leaning over a desk. He had like a little uniform shirt on, but I was wondering if maybe that's where he got the knife, or I didn't quite know too much about what this program was, if it was police or junior or OTC or what it was.
Yeah,
but-
it was a police program, and so it seems like he had a lifelong fascination with law
Yeah.
enforcement, criminal justice, and then to do the things that he did, it just doesn't fit that.
Well, what was the guy out in California, Golden State? Wasn't he
Yeah.
the one that got caught by DNA? Wasn't he a police officer?
Yes.
Yeah, and then I think a couple of people served in the military.
He did. Yes.
So I think that I think you could go either way with it because.
But look how
I heard-
long. Okay, he evaded, capture for ages,
exactly,
right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, of course, they didn't have the, the DNA.
Exactly,
now,
until the
but-
DNA technology came around.
and
then
cameras
it got 'em.
like the way they did, and they do now.
Yeah, it's harder to commit the perfect crime anymore. I don't know if you can. Unless you're in some sort of a tie-back suit and like Dexter,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know there was an interview with an insider, but again, what I'm saying is there's a lot of insiders that come forward that are full of crap. That's what I'm saying. They're been there, done that a lot. So I need another source, and I'm just not seeing another source about, even in like his biographies and stuff before they were taken down. He's not mentioning running. So
right, like crime was a big thing through his whole life. Like
Yeah.
you could see it in high school. He was in this
Right.
program, and then he went to junior college for psychology, and then onwards. You could see that was a fascination for him for his life. versus one guy saying, yeah, we used to go jogging at night. I don't even know why jogging matters, though, much other than his physical fitness level, perhaps. But
Right. Yeah. So I mean, yeah, he's not. But he's not going to put his. So why did he drive his car by so many times, and then at other times he's turning his phone off? And there's just got to be more. And remember that they just went through his apartment and his office, and what was on those computers and the devices. What kind of searches did he do? We don't know anything like that.
I just think it's weird.
I'm not.
that,
You're not saying you're not nice, hard to handle. I think you're wonderful. You're reading into it wrong. I just checked facts. That's all.
I think it's weird that he's. I mean, doesn't really matter if we get it down to the minute. It really doesn't. The fact that he was able to do what he did in less than 20 minutes, it does deep down make me question the fact if this man has done this before. It makes me start to think, has he done this before? Yeah, he left a lot of bad breadcrumbs behind, but you read that affidavit and you start looking at what he really did that day and leading up to it, it leaves room to wonder, and I've said this before anyways, but it does leave room to wonder, has he done this before?
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and then this is where I kind of question it. Like, if he has done it before, you would think that he would be more controlled. He might move more. I would think he would move more slowly, right? I think when you're more calm, you're more methodical. And that's the only reason, right, that I think maybe the short time duration is actually saying maybe this is actually one of his first times, because he didn't know how he was going to react, and he wasn't able to control the adrenaline and the,
Yeah.
you know, the,
Well, and the
So
time
it
that he
kinda
had to
can go
go
both
around
ways.
3 times around, like, was that because he was seeing people in the window and
that's
then
really
he's getting
crazy.
stressed out, like, oh my gosh, wonder what's
right,
going
am I doing it?
on?
Am I not doing it? Right, like, can I do this? Should I
And
park?
then, like,
Should I?
was tempted to park the car, didn't, came down, made a 3-point turn. You know, it's just.
That is nuts. Yeah, I didn't think about that, because, I mean, just the sheer, like, the sheer risk level that you're putting yourself at by doing all these turns, like at 4 o'clock in the morning. Why are you doing that, right? It's not like you're in traffic. It's not that you're doing a U-turn because you need to get somewhere really quick. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Where are you going, right? Like, there's no traffic. There's no reason for you to be doing all this. These,
Right.
turns. Just go park your car. If you were just going home, you wouldn't be hemming and hawing. So yeah, interesting. God, I wish we could talk to him, get his psychology, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
fascinated by this. Boy.
Exactly. Or just, read some, like, he deleted so much stuff, like, you can't even, like, read something he wrote or find something, like, remember, like, with even Chris Watch, you found that thing he made on relationships, that talk, remember that?
Yeah,
About having a baby to save the
Lecture.
marriage and stuff. So you got to see a little bit, and then plus his interviews and everything came out. It's just,
yeah, while he was free, he was busy deleting and clearing his trail.
it just erasing himself.
Yeah, basically, it's what it kind of seems like in a sense of the case. He was sitting around deleting stuff and
And I
getting rid
don't
of
think
evidence.
he had a lot of friends, and that's why I question some of these people coming forth, because I really don't believe them. We've seen it before in other
with the
cases,
heroin.
and somebody could just an acquaintance, and they've blown it up to that, like they were the best friend ever.
Like, the heroin
And-
thing, to me, it doesn't fit him at all. Like,
Yeah,
I
the
don't
hair.
think he's a
I know,
heroin addict.
but I mean, there is a picture where that picture is horrendous of him, where it looks like he's completely gaunt. His eyes are sunken in. His face almost has a ghoul-like expression, like that happens a lot with that type of drug, and you could believe it there for that. But is that what it was?
But how many heroin addicts have a master's degree and are going to their PhD? I mean, like, usually there's a path of a heroin addict, right? And it's
Well,
not
but see, no, but they're airline pilots. They're well, think about all the people that you have OD'd on heroin, right? And it's
That is
so
true. I mean, yeah, I'm
they're
kind of
airline,
being
they're
stereotypically-
accomplished people. They're hedge fund managers. That's the thing. You're thinking like he's
Yeah,
down and
like
out on
innocent.
his luck and on Skid Row. So it could be, but I think he might have moved past that, but I don't know. He could have been still doing something, but functioning.
Also,
I don't
really
know.
said I was his best friend, or I was his girlfriend, or I don't think we've had anybody that's claimed to be like, oh, I was his high school.
No,
you know,
but that's
crush or
not so
whatever.
weird in and of itself for a guy that's introverted or feels awkward. He might not have had a lot of girlfriends by the time he's 28, and if he was really into his career and into school and
Yeah.
it's not that crazy. It's not that crazy.
Yeah, I mean, but I bounced that off of how charismatic he seems in the courtroom, right? Being so confident. He doesn't seem to be, I don't see him being taciturn and he seems really confident to me. But again, we're taking in this off of just a few seconds of video that we saw of him. So,
Well, I saw him swallow hard a couple of times and clenching his teeth. He's nervous. He's worried.
yeah, he did have a little bit of tics,
Right here, especially
yeah.
right here on this. Right, this was going in.
He's worried.
But I tell you what, I got pulled over by the police for no reason whatsoever.
Oh,
I was in
yeah,
a
I
park
know-
where
I
there
know
was
what
a
you mean.
cemetery.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm like a nervous wreck. Like I'm literally have a pulse rate of like 180.
See, I have the
I'm
same
like,
thing,
getting
and
the
I'm
registration
thinking.
is taking. Yeah,
Right.
go ahead.
And I know, I hear you. I hear you because the same thing happens to me, and I keep thinking like, how do they think I didn't do something horrendous? Because
Exactly.
if somebody's looking at me, I feel like I can't make eye contact with them.
I know. I would be the worst criminal because, I mean, I could theorize about the best way to commit a crime, but I am literally like, I was in a park where there was a cemetery and they wanted to know why I was in the park after dusk or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't know that was a law in this town. And I'm like, I literally was like hands up, like, take me to your leader. Like, I was scared to death because there was literally like 3 police cars around me because I don't know why. I guess it was a small town and it was the biggest thing to do that night. But yeah, I was like you, where I was just, I couldn't even get my words out. I was
Right,
so,
yeah.
struck by it. So yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I get so crazy. Even like if you have to report something, like say somebody broke into your house or something, right? And you have to call the
Yeah.
police and make a report. Even then, I'm like they're thinking like, what's going on? Like, I just feel like they're looking at me like, what the hell, right? Because it's I don't know.
Yeah, it's that stressful situation that you weren't expecting to have to be in. So yeah.
Yeah, it's.
And I was talking about his demeanor in the courtroom, what little
Yeah.
we saw. So that's, yeah. I saw a couple of signs on him and you have to realize the conditions that he's being held under. He'd be getting nothing. He'd be in isolation. He'd be on the bare bones of that place,
Yeah.
Yes. They would have the lights on probably 24 hours a day. He'd be being constantly watched.
He was
In
on suicide watch in
isolation.
Pennsylvania. Yeah, he was in suicide watch on Pennsylvania, and that's because that's, I guess, a policy of theirs. When
Yeah.
they take somebody in under a warrant at that level or something,
A turtle
they always
suit.
put them on suicide watch. for a
I think
period
he
of time.
still would be. I think they're still
I think
watching
anytime
him.
there it's a new trend, especially there they put them on suicide watch
Yeah.
in the turtle suits. Just lovely turtle suits, right? And I don't know. Even Scooter said, even a police car behind me, I start checking my speed. Oh my gosh, I picked the boys up from basketball practice yesterday, and we're driving home, and so the road goes like this, and this one's a stop sign, and nobody ever stops at this one, and there's somebody and I'm watching, he's not going to stop. So I'm stopping in defensive driving, preparing for this guy not to stop, right? And then Luke goes, that's a police officer, Mom. And I go, how do you know that, Luke? And he goes, because it was pitch dark. And he goes, because he's got that bar in the front. So then I get closer, my lights get up and they hit the New York State Police. And this is like literally, minutes from the house. So he's got the stop sign. I go in front of him. And then Luke's like, make sure you're driving okay, Mom. Don't be speeding or something. The cop's behind you, right? So then he follows me onto the other road. And then Luke's like, if he follows us onto the other road, he's probably coming up for some reason. And I'm like freaking out. Like I didn't do anything. And I'm watching to see if he's going to let me, if he's going to follow us again.
Right.
So then he went the other way. But yeah, I know what you mean when Scooter says cops on us. Like, freaking out. Like, I don't know. Like, if I committed some kind of a thing, I think I've been seeing all these people. They must have me. I don't know how he was so calm when they pulled him over twice, knowing everything that he allegedly did up to that point.
No.
I don't think his face looked calm.
I think he
When he
looked
got pulled
annoyed,
over.
but I don't think he was like how I would have been. I think I would have been like, oh my gosh, you found out? What'd you find out?
Well, one of those, during that, he had a look of kind of real concern there, in that little video, that body cam.
Yeah.
He
I think
really
his father
did.
provided some buffer there for him too. The fact that his dad was with him may have.
Yeah,
allowed
and then
his
his dad
dad to speak a
alludes to
little
that
bit.
SWAT or something, and that they're a little
Yeah.
punchy. His father says we're a little punchy because
Yeah, I
we had this. We've been driving forever, and then there was this SWAT thing, and
I think he deferred to him a little there. Maybe it calmed him just a little bit. But I tell you, to get pulled over, twice within 9 minutes, how could he not be thinking,
yeah.
oh my God, they are on to me? Like,
Good
I don't
night,
know how he
JD.
kept it together.
And those stops were orchestrated, right?
No, they weren't. That's some misinformation. They
right?
were not orchestrated at all.
They didn't say one way or the other, right? Though?
No, they did.
Carolyn?
They came out and said they were not.
Oh, wow.
Yes, the
What a
FBI said they
coincidence,
were
huh?
not.
Wow. Super
That's a
coincidence.
really big coincidence there.
I know the statistics of that. I mean, just to get stopped
Wow.
within 9 minutes and to be
Get
a
a lot
murderer.
of it. That's crazy.
Hmm. Let's see. It's over 40 years now, so that's not okay. What? Oh.
Did anybody say how he was doing in his PhD program? Was he failing out, or was he? Because you remember the kid that was that shot up the Aurora Theater in
Mhm.
Colorado? Is it Holmes? James Holmes? I think that's what his name was. Anyways, when he was in his master's program, I think, and he was having a real hard time. He was like kind of not getting along well socially, but he was also doing poorly academically. He was having a hard time with just the material. And I was wondering, was Bryan, our killer here, was he, I don't think anybody had said if he was doing well, or, I don't know if they get graded. I don't know how a PhD program works.
Yeah,
but,
I think
like,
I know
don't if
that
there's
professors
classes
where
or-
he was before said he was, a very good student and all that. I don't
Right.
know now what they were saying.
Yeah, I'm
About
pretty
his
sure
actual
it was,
grades, I mean.
3.9 and 4.0, and then there was even one term when it was higher than a 4.0 because he exceeded an extracurricular or something.
That was in PA, wasn't it?
that in the sales?
The masters. He
Yeah, in-
was,
in PA,
The
yeah.
sales.
yeah, I'm trying to tell you about the grades. He had grades that were pretty damn good, actually.
Really?
Yeah, they at the
Gonna get
beginning of
better.
the case when
Okay,
When
so here's
it first
just,
came out, it was his name, then there was people doing research about who he was and, his grades and stuff like that at college. It came out that he had really good grades, like 3.9, 4.0.
he did. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is pushing back against reports that it directed law enforcement agencies in Indiana to pull over Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger. Police stopped Kohberger on I-70 eastbound in Hancock County on 2 occasions about 10 minutes apart on December 15th. The Hancock County Sheriff's Office and the Indiana State Police both released body camera footage of the encounters. In both cases, Police informed Kohberger that he had been stopped for following another vehicle too closely, and he was let off with a warning. Kohberger and his father were stopped in Indiana while driving from Washington State to Pennsylvania for the holidays. They were traveling in a white Hyundai Elantra. Reports later emerged that FBI surveillance team tracking him cross-country directed law enforcement in Indiana to stop him so they could get video of his hands. The FBI said that was not the case, and I quote, "Contrary to reports, the December 15th traffic stops conducted on the vehicle being driven by Bryan Kohberger in Indiana were not requested or directed by the FBI," the agency said in a statement distributed to media outlets on Thursday.
So that debunks it.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because it's like one agency contradicting another in a way, ain't it? It's weird.
Yep. Oh, we got a poll up here. Let me see what's going on with this poll. So 80% say that Bryan did not leave the sheath on purpose, while 20% say that he did, in their opinion.
I was one of the ones that said I think he did, but it's just like a theory of theories, though, because you never know until you know the answers. Like, is this really his first time with these 4 innocent souls that he took? Is it? I don't know if it's his first time, but from what we learned, it's just overwhelmingly drastic, the amount of evidence that he pushed against himself intentionally, on purpose, as if to say, here I am, and let's play a game together.
Right.
It is weird to a degree, because you know how in a lot of cases we'll hear that later on, like in a show or in the affidavit, you'll hear that killers cleaned up behind themselves intentionally right directly afterwards while they were still there. So it is weird that did what he did the way he did. It begs the question, to some level, are these the only 4 innocent victims he took?
Well, I don't know, it does happen, I guess, with Delphi. Richard Allen hasn't had any past criminal history at all. And that was 2, and it was in broad daylight, middle of the day, or, it was in, daylight. It happens. It's just hard to say. Maybe he's done things that are strange, but not murdered people before. Don't know.
You are right. $120 watching, 56 likes. Come on, y'all, let's get those likes up for mommy.
Yeah.
There's 120 y'all watching. Even if just everyone right now push the like button, we'd be gravy.
That's right.
And if the gravy ain't good, I'll pass you a biscuit. Here in the South, we got lots of biscuits.
That sounds good right now. The death penalty may be on the table for this case, since it's in Idaho and they're a death penalty state. And I was kind of wondering, will he do a Chris Watts when presented with evidence? Will he take a plea deal, plead guilty, in order to avoid death? And I was kind of thinking of his psychology, and if he would do that, wonder what y'all think.
I think
he
the
would
I think the gentleman, I think the one gentleman that's part of the prosecution with the long beard,
won't offer it.
I think he's gonna try to send Bryan to where he needs to go.
Do you think they'll offer a plea though? Because a lot of times they'll use the death penalty as a wedge, you know?
The parents are
Well,
very against life in prison.
I don't think there's any give or take, really, honestly, as much as I don't want to say that on the live. With all the feelings that have been put out there in advance of the arrest and everything, he sounded, as soft-spoken as he is, he sounds like a real serious dude.
So what does that mean? Do you think that he won't take?
When the prosecutor did a few interviews before the arrest,
right,
he said, I'm not gonna show any remorse. I'm gonna go 10 toes down on this case.
So he's gonna go full on and not offer any.
Well, we'll see. He has to work with the families too. Yeah, like Mommy was saying.
The families want the death penalty. I know at least Kaylee's parents do.
Mm-hmm. And that's really important in prosecutors' minds.
In the Chris Watts case,
pleas
they would have gone for, the prosecutor would have gone for the death penalty. Okay? Sandy didn't want the death penalty. She didn't believe it. She didn't believe it was her right. So,
so that allowed them to use it as a wedge to force him into a plea because they probably knew they weren't going to go for death anyways. But they could use it.
Well, you have to think of
in the Watts case, that prosecutor wanted the death penalty for Chris Watts.
Yeah, you have to think of the word plea.
He tried to talk Sandy into it.
Not every criminal gets a plea deal.
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is oftentimes the prosecutor will put death on the table, right, to scare the alleged criminal, right, into taking a plea deal to save money, to basically lock the guy up for life. You know, it's an easy way to get somebody to give up, you know, the details. Basically say, okay, I'll come clean, take death off the table. Yeah, I'll plead to 2 counts of murder, you know, or whatever, some other lesser, and then get him in jail for life. But, you know, I just don't know if this prosecutor would even be interested in that. And then if it was put on the table, would he take it?
It depends. I think if he thinks there's a possibility that one juror might disagree or something, you know, it depends the risk factor. If he feels that the evidence is so overwhelming that there's gonna, you know, it's gonna be guilty right across the board with the jury, I think that makes a difference too. Because he'd rather, if it's a little, you know, he's gonna have to weigh up the risks. You know, if he thinks there's a slight risk that this guy could be found, you know, hung jury, not guilty, he may throw a deal out there. Only he knows all the evidence and how strong and confident he is in that, of getting a conviction, a guilty verdict. I mean, so I think that's important also.
Ken thinks that Kohberger's defense is going to be that he drove someone else there, but doesn't know who the person was. Interesting, Ken. But why was he driving back around in the next morning, and why was he driving around those 12 times?
Why was his DNA on the knife she found at the crime scene?
Well, he would easily say the guy took my knife, the guy that he was driving around. But why would he have been in the area 12 previous times? Why was he going around that morning? Why did he do the things he did after, where he drove out towards that part of Idaho and then went to Albertsons, then shut his phone off for 3 hours and was off grid, and all of the other things that he did? Why?
Yep, I agree.
That would be different if he never went by that house ever, except for that time, maybe, okay? But
See, that's
all the
what's so
stuff he did, how
mind-boggling
is that
about
gonna
this.
fly?
Like, he has intelligence when it comes to criminality. It's so weird. That's the only way to say it too. He has intelligence when it comes to criminality, but it's like it's not only like he's throwing it on the ground and stepping on it, it's like he's mocking criminality or something.
Yeah, I don't think that will fly. At all. Plus, didn't he have scratches and stuff?
Never heard anything about
No,
that.
there's speculation based on the video, but in the other video, he picks his arm up and he doesn't have anything, so.
Somebody's got a video playing,
Yeah,
so
you got a
be
video
careful with the
playing.
algorithm.
I got it.
I think if I was the defense attorney, one of the things I would point out is the number of times the police went in and out of that house without any gloves or booties, or there's tons of video of it. I was like literally melting and dying when I'm seeing this, because they literally have people walking in there, you know, taking TVs out and tracking their, you know, I mean, that's one of the defense's favorite things, is to just sort of poke holes through, well, you know, how clean of a crime scene was this? How, you know, how much contamination was there? You know, that, I think that will be a theme that will be played out just because of so much video of it.
I think that's why it's so significant that the DNA that they used to build this case was not from the house.
Yeah,
It wasn't from the victims.
it was brought in, yeah. You're
Well,
right.
it was from the snap on a sheath from the murder weapon. That's
Right, it wasn't just on the
that is so
ground,
damning.
yeah. Yeah, it is
That,
damning.
and then the other, you know, with the way they match it is, it's astronomical odds. It's something like 1 in 9 billion that the father of whoever left that DNA on that snap. So, I mean, they've got him. This is not, this is kind of addressing some things that are coming up in chat that maybe we're being too hard on this guy for, you know, convicting him, you know, innocent until proven guilty. Well, that's at this point kind of a technicality. My gosh, unless there are aliens from another planet visiting this Idaho, and that has a son that drives a white Hyundai Elantra, they got him. I mean, this is as clean of a case as I've ever seen. They've got his DNA on the sheath of the murder weapon. The second most significant thing so far that we know, and there's going to be thousands of things to fill in the gaps, but the second most significant thing that I see is that he turns his phone off at 2:47. The last time it was picked up was at 2:42, leaving the university in Pullman, Washington. So at 2:42, he pings. At 2:47, he turns it off. And then this is the stupid thing, number two, is he turns it back on while he's in Idaho. He's on Highway 95. He's like, I don't know, 20 miles south of Moscow when he turns his phone
Why don't
back
you
on.
wait, right? You wait till
He
you get
turns it
home,
on
you're
at
in your house,
4:48.
right?
Breadcrumbs.
And his phone doesn't ping again until 5:30 when he's back at his apartment, or that's when it pings at his apartment, is at 5:30. So why would you turn it on at 4:48? Again, and this is 28 minutes after they have him on video fleeing the scene. So 28 minutes after he leaves, before he gets home, he turns his phone back on and a cell tower picks it up south of Moscow, Idaho.
I wonder if it was him being eager to see if police were called to the scene yet. Him wanting to see news. I mean, why not just turn on your radio? I mean, but I don't know. I don't listen to radio much, so I don't know how much time they break in with, you know, news, but maybe he was just, really wondering like, hey, did she call the police on me? It's been, how long
Well,
did you say?
yeah, I
Steve?
think,
It was
well,
how
they
many
like to
minutes?
see their crimes. They like to see what they did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Their handiwork.
So here's just a picture real quick. They are moving mattresses and furniture. They moved them out of the house today into pickup trucks. So there's a photo there of that. And
From today?
Today, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, investigators were back and loaded several mattresses in the back of several pickup trucks and some other smaller furniture, like you can see in the photo.
What's you wanna bet those are full of DNA?
Right there, here, there's some other type of stuff that they loaded in the back of those trucks. And, I mean, I would think if they were taken in, they would have wrapped the mattresses. Well, they have them in zippered cases, so I don't know.
I wouldn't need a mattress that bad. I'd be like, you know what, just keep it.
Yeah, I know
Burn it.
there
I
isn't
don't want
evidence.
anything from that house.
I mean, it's a paper bag. I wouldn't think they would just pop an evidence paper bag in the back of a pickup truck. It might be biohazard stuff. I don't know, but some kind of a white thing. Who knows what
So
they're
it's not to
doing right now.
return it to the people, you don't think? Because I know that they were doing an effort to return.
Yeah,
some
I
of
mean,
the items.
I would say, yeah, keep your mattresses. And usually I think those mattresses might belong to the
house.
landlord, right? Because usually, like with dorm rooms,
lot
you
of
don't bring your mattress and stuff. So they probably just had, I know they weren't on campus, but they probably had the mattresses and stuff
Yeah.
for them, yeah, I would think.
I wonder if that house will ever be rented again. I thought about that. The poor landlord, he's probably like, oh, I don't know, will people flock to it?
And then there,
Would
well,
be a-
yeah, and then there you get those other people that want to go in there and want to,
Exactly.
I feel like my dog's in. Where's that?
The mansion that was, what were the cult, the people who thought they were gonna go up on the UFO? It was back in the 90s, that cult with,
Davidians?
no, not them, the other ones with the bald-headed guy, and they thought it was the UFOs were gonna bring them up, they all committed suicide. There was
Oh,
like 22
the,
people.
Hale-Bopp.
Heaven's Gate.
Hale-Bopp.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah, the Hale-Bopp comet, yeah, that was
Yeah.
Heaven's Gate. That mansion literally sat unoccupied. I saw a documentary on it that, it's interesting, there's a real estate company in America that specializes in these hard to deal with scenes, like, like the La Bianca, what was what's his name, Charlie Manson? You know how he killed some people in those Hollywood Hills houses? Like some of those houses were considered quote unquote hard to sell. Well, this real estate agent deals with these hard to sell houses. And he was talking about the mansion from the Heaven's Gate and how it literally sat vacant. And then somebody bought it, and now it's like almost like an amusement park, right? Because people come to it and they want to, it's almost like a cult following now. So it took some years though for it to lose a little bit of its, nuclear, people to actually buy it. It took some time, but I think this house, I don't know which way it'll go. I don't think I'd want to live in it, personally. The house in Idaho.
No.
Right? Like, nah. I don't think I'd want to live in any house in Idaho at this point.
No, I don't think so. Too creepy.
Yeah. Too soon, yeah.
That
Maybe in
house
like 10
Oh,
years.
thank you. I'll
I mean-
pass.
Who would live in that house?
There's no way. You couldn't pay me enough.
Who would live in that house?
Oh, I mean, some people are.
That's
I mean-
I think it'll take time.
I mean, for sure, like if I knew,
Hi,
if I
Paradise.
knew something like that happened, I wouldn't do it.
the eeriest, most horrible thing. Like, unbelievable, terrible.
Personally speaking, I think they should. I think
Burn it
it
down.
might, it might, it might be tough for the college to do this actually, but I think what the college should do is actually buy the property and put a memorial there for all four
Yeah.
of
That's a
them.
good idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, yeah.
Completely, like you were saying, not burn it down per se, but bulldoze
Thank you,
the land
Liberty.
and just put a memorial there for those four people that were
I
brutally
think you should
murdered.
propose, that's a great idea, actually, yeah. Because that's a lot of times what they do with these scenes that are just that are just never going to be the same again, you know?
Right. Instead of leaving it there to possibly maybe be another party house down the road, why not put something there that sends a message to the community of positiveness? This is in memory of
Yeah, well, that would be
these
nice.
people, and also at the same time, like maybe be
Well, even
creative
if the
with the memorial.
university doesn't do it, like if there's funds, if they did a community fundraiser or something in order
Right.
to buy the house and do the memorial,
Mhm.
then
Yeah.
that's something they could do too
I
as well.
like it.
Kind of a
Somebody
weird
should
place
propose
for a
that.
memorial, though.
Yeah, right in the middle of like,
Yeah, well, some kind of, at least to get that house down.
Some kind of thing there.
something.
You're welcome, Linda T.
Yeah, instead of letting it be like a darkness in the community, turn it into the light of the community
Yeah.
and have a light that shines up out of it.
Oh, that's nice. Look at you, so creative.
It's just a weird spot, though.
It is. I mean, there's apartments up above, and then you've got that other kind of house that's built along the side, right there. But no, I don't know. And then it's kind of
But you know,
Whatever.
being a student, it's kind of nice to have like a little park area.
Right.
maybe even if it wasn't.
that
Hold on a minute.
quad.
Hold on. If it,
She muted herself.
Oh, you're muted, Carolyn.
Yeah, but what happened on that?
after you go separate.
Okay, Mary Beth. So I got them processed. The pharmacist is taking a
Y'all there?
We're here.
I don't know what happened there.
Oh, what's going on?
I don't know. I heard something about a pharmacist and Carolyn being
Yeah,
your
I
microphone.
don't know. It wasn't me.
That was me.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
To me, I had to take care of the puppies.
There you
Okay, sorry. I just came in from outside, and everybody was
I'm
bothering my 12-and-a-half-year-old Maltese, so she doesn't like that. Hello, Rosalita. To think someone like that lives among us is chilling. Yeah, and then it's looking like more are living around us than is. It's disgusting lately. There's so many.
And that people don't believe he did it, that know him.
Well, you're always going to get that with every crime. There's going to be people that say, "I can't believe they did that." And then you're going to get the ones that don't know him at all, that are going to start writing to him, falling in love with him, starting. No, it's true. Starting groups on
serious?
Facebook. Oh, what? There, I already saw them. The groups, they start up like crazy. Any guy that is in prison, especially murderers, and if they're high profile, all the better. They're going to have a slew of women writing to them.
That's crazy.
Yep, there are women that
yeah.
did that. Now there will be women writing to him, championing for him being innocent, putting money in his commissary, 100%.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Oh, it's a big thing. Like the whole, they like the bad boy, but they like the fact that he's in prison because they really can't, be hurt by him. And
They
he's
know
gonna
where he
stick by
is.
them,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, he's not going to go catting around on them.
And he
so-
wants them. He wants to call them. They're putting money in his account. They have them
Right.
right where they want them. And yeah, they love it.
Captive
Go
audience.
look at it. They all have them.
Yeah,
Oh my
Chris Watts
goodness.
became. Remember, Chris Watts became like.
They start writing to them and
super
saying, "I
stud.
can see it in your eyes. You didn't do this. You need someone to talk to.
Oh my
I'm that
gosh.
person." Oh yeah.
They're not allowed to talk to people, though, are they?
Yeah, it depends
they
on the
can.
case, the time of the case, and the person. But yes,
Most convicted.
everything. But yes, everything mommy just said is actually true. It really does
You can make
happen.
phone calls after you kill someone and you're convicted of it?
Absolutely. They have
you
internet
kidding?
now. You could write, yeah, like some jails have like an internet, like tablets where you can, and they may charge 25 cents an email, but you could, as long as somebody's putting money in your books, your commissary account, sure, you could call.
Even if you're
It's actually
a convicted murderer.
Yeah.
yeah, they've gotten more privileges than probably that you would imagine. They get recreation time. I mean, I'm not saying prison is a walk in the park, but sure, they get time to go out in the recreation yard. They get little jobs at the prison.
Well, I know
depending
they
on
have
their-
that, but I didn't realize you were allowed to communicate with other people.
Sure. Yeah, they have payphones, like the old-fashioned type payphones, but you have to use their there's like a jail. Each prison has like a kind of like a calling card program where like somebody puts money on it. You can only talk for like 15 or 20 minutes, and then
And
it
they
cuts
can
off.
and they can email. They can email.
Email, yeah. Some places have the
but
email.
they can make phone calls. Yeah, sure.
Do they get visits?
Yeah, sometimes.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the COVID
Depending
shut
on-
things down, but
Depending on behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Say
Yeah, it's
you
privilege.
were not being cocky with the guards, you were not irritating other inmates on your 1 hour recreation on the yard. Little things would get you
And
really
there's
far in jail.
sometimes a waiting period, too, for their visits. It all depends on each prison and jail. They're
So you can
held in jails now, while they're waiting
Start up a real
trial.
romance.
They can even do video visits now because, like with COVID, they did a lot of like
Zoom,
FaceTime.
yeah, they were
type-
even doing Zooms,
type-
right?
Yeah. So I don't know if they're still on the table or not. For people that live at a distance, to visit with family. But yeah, I mean, they have a lot of contact with the outside world.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They could write letters, right? Like they've got
Oh, yeah.
cards, letters.
Mm-hmm.
I knew cards and letters.
Yeah, they can talk on the phone.
I had no idea you could email
Yeah,
them.
but the phone calls are all recorded, and they have to remember that, and they can be used,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And I mean, it might just shock people how much they don't care at times, either how much it's monitored. Like they know it's all monitored, and it quite shocking the things they say to people in letters and phone calls and emails.
Yeah.
Like sometimes criminals are very candid in their correspondences, very to the point where people have to reach out to law enforcement again and say, I'm reaching out to you because this is not normal. So this is the step that I'm taking to defend myself in some cases. I'll give you a reference, like the interview, the B2K killer's daughter was doing that interview, and she mentioned how she's received things in the mail because of who her father is. So, it's not uncommon that these criminals will do things they shouldn't even be able to do, too.
Right.
They've heard hits. Like we've heard, there's been cases where the person wants to like kill some witness, that's going to testify against them. So you could hear them on their phone call, saying, I mean, they speak in a little bit of coded language, but it's not too hard to decipher that they're, wanting somebody to be, quieted. Yeah. So even before they're convicted, they can talk on the phone when they're in jail, not just in
That's
prison.
crazy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness. So
They can go
being
to
in
school.
jail. What?
They can even get their college degree. They could go to college and through like distance learning programs, they're allowed to take college class. Even some community colleges actually go on site and teach, math and some basic subjects. So yeah.
So prison isn't all that bad.
Yeah, if you don't mind the bad food.
And they're even going to try to accommodate his vegan diet, but they're just not going to buy pots or pans to do that.
Yeah, right? Then he's not going to be able to eat out of the pots he wants. He must be going crazy having to eat that food.
But he doesn't look like, he looks like he's happy as a clam there. I don't know.
Right?
That's why I'm thinking he's really using this as like a research study.
And he's got something up his sleeve, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
Makes
know.
you
They have
wonder.
his
It does.
DNA.
It does make you wonder if he
Maybe
committed
he
these
thinks it's like 60
atrocities to
days
reach
in.
a goal. Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't do. Maybe we're going to find out he did apply to be on something like 60 days in.
What?
Isn't that what it's called?
Yeah, that
Reality
A&E
show where
program.
you actually go into a prison and the prisoners don't know you're there with a reality show. So, and you're treated just supposed to be the way anybody would be treated. And you go in for 60 days to kind of see what it's like.
But he kills people.
What?
He kills
Yeah, so
people.
the thought is there is that.
No,
maybe
but
he
I'm
was so
saying, did
interested in
he,
wanting to go
can
to
you
jail.
imagine if we found out he applied to be on a show like that?
Do you think he killed the people to be on a reality show?
No, you don't kill the people. They make up a crime for you.
You think this
No,
isn't real?
perhaps like he got rejected.
No,
Like, if he got rejected-
no, this is real. What I'm saying in his head, okay, is he thinking like, oh, this is like a reality show for me. I'm going to see what it works like on the inside. Not that he really thinks it's a reality show, but that he's could outsmart the system. That I'm just saying, I get that little twinge of that with him every time I think about things too much. When
That
I
he thinks he's
overthink
going to
it.
get out of it. That he thinks he's going to get out of it.
Yes, that's what I think. I think he thinks he's going to outsmart them, or he knows some loophole and he's trying to test this theory of his. But, that's just some thoughts I have when I'm overthinking it too much.
Well, what could it be? What kind of loophole? They
I
have
don't know. I'm just thinking that, I don't know why I get this thought with him. And I'm not saying it's all the time.
Right. That we're missing something. That would be awful.
I think that he thought that he could pull off the perfect crime, and I think this was a little bit. I think he wanted to see if he could do it, and he obviously failed. And I think it surprised him how unperfect he performed.
Well, Mickey says something, even capital punishment, he will have movies, books, interviews, he'll be studied long after his death. Most people don't get that. Crime is his passion. He feels he wins no matter what.
Right. That makes sense. He'll be infamous.
Well, and a lot of times too, the death penalty cell where they house the people on death row is often a part of the prison that's much quieter and nicer, and they get different privileges. Sometimes they get different meals than the general pop. So,
It's nicer?
Oh yeah, read. You know what? I have a video about
cells.
Chris Longo and what he says about being life in prison. On death row, and all of the things that they get being on death row, and how he even tells you how he gets money by writing stories for people on the outside that contact him.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's a video I have about Chris Longo, who killed his family, put his little children in suitcases, and put him in the river, and then he went and fled the country, and they brought him back. Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
Cells they're single cell, so they don't have to share a cell with another person. Because with death row, you don't want to house two people together who might kill each other. So they're single cell occupied, and then it's much quieter because there's only say 20 people on the row on the on the tier. Versus general population where there's 300 people or 200 people in your pod, where it's just chaos all night. It's really quiet. They have television. Yeah.
On death row, you have TV?
Oh, each of them in their own cells.
Yeah, he's got a little flat screen, Chris Longo. Yes.
I'm telling you, it's not as terrible as one would. I mean, as long as you have, I think for indigent people who have no money, it could be terrible because all of these things that we're talking about are privileges that you get only if you've got the money to purchase it. You have to purchase that TV from.
But they're getting money through various sources, and one of these sources is that mostly Chris Longo talks about men that write him in prison that want him to write these stories to them, and they pay him for these stories by putting money in his commissary. Yes.
Stories about what?
Well.
About the killing?
No. Well, you use your imagination. Some of them are about, things we can't discuss here, but things that they want to hear. He writes them what they want to hear, They're mostly prison kind of stories that are
Fetish.
that these men, that like, and oh my gosh, these.
That's crazy. People are nuts, aren't they?
I don't, yeah.
It's
I mean,
amazing what people will pay for.
yeah, I know, right?
Works out great for the guy on death row. That's why these people do these things. It's a moneymaker for them too.
A lot of people too sell like their art, if they can draw or whatever. There's a lot of people where you hear people, like infamous killers who, you want to buy, an artwork made by, Chris Longo or Scott Peterson or whoever. I know the jail or the prisons try to cut back on that because they don't want to they don't want essentially to make it a cottage industry where, you could be a murderer too and, live tax free and all you have to do is paint a picture now and then and get some money on your books and,
Anything new with Scott Peterson? Anything new with Scott Peterson? Nikki?
I don't know any. Yeah, he recently go back out onto trial or something. I
don't know. Is he getting a new trial?
No, he's not.
Recently? Didn't he do something recently with his trial?
He's not getting a new trial.
He's getting it. Okay.
Oh, he's not getting a new trial.
No, he's not getting a new trial. No.
Is he still on death row then, or is he a lifer?
No, he's not on death row anymore. He's got life in prison without parole.
Oh, he's not on death row anymore.
No, but death row didn't mean much for him, or many. Takes a long time.
Yeah, in California, you never get the death penalty.
You never get killed. I mean, they don't. No. When's the last time they executed someone? I don't know. It's been a long time.
Right. It takes years and years and years and years and years.
Tons of money. Yeah, like a death penalty, I don't know, I'm trying to remember, like a death penalty case costs like, say like $8 million, I think it was like $8 million to the state. What? Every appeal. And it just goes up, like in like the appeals process, how they get like I think they have like, how many levels of appeal do they get? Like 4 levels of appeal, I think? Yeah, it's millions and millions and like the state can spend upwards to like $20 million just on the amount of money that it costs to prosecute a death penalty. That's crazy. Why a lot of states take it off the books. They don't even want to go there because it costs so much money, and then you have to pay for all the appeals that they get. It's cheaper to.
That's crazy.
Hey, Muka. I was just thinking about you the other day. Good to see you. Hi. Sorry. Hi, MD. They have a website where they sell letters they've written, signatures, and yes, artwork. Yeah, and they also do stuff privately to people that write to them. Muka. Not Muka, MD. So, yeah.
That's crazy.
Okay, see you later, Linda.
Don't believe it.
Thanks for coming in. Jodi Arias, well, her brother was selling her paintings for money on eBay, right, Barb? Because she needed better food at the jail when she was there, remember? Yeah.
Is she on death row?
Jodi Arias? No, she got life, right?
She got life.
Life, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
she had a rapper. She had a rapper that fell in love with her, made a song for her, Jodi Arias. Oh yeah, yes. And she had they released their prison phone calls, and she was speaking all about caramelized onions and everything like that. Yeah. How good the fajitas were, or something. They had caramelized onions, and just. Oh, she won the. Didn't she win the talent contest with her version of Silent Night?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
was it? Oh,
quite
Holy
the
Night.
singer.
Yeah, Silent Night, Holy Night. Yeah. Yep.
You know, I watched her recently. I watched like a supercut of her. What is it called? Her ex when
Or what?
when she was on the stand.
Testimony. Yeah, for like how many days was she
Ridiculous.
on the stand? That was crazy.
12,
Like
yeah,
19.
it was a long. It was
Yeah,
12 days,
19.
something incredible. But I tell you what, now that I watch it, you know, these years removed, she was really incredibly, like, she did a good job of selling her, you know, I'm the wounded woman, you know, the domestic violence victim. And
Yeah.
she was really, I mean, she did but she fought back to that. I can't think of the guy's name now. It's escaping me. I don't know why I can't think of anything today.
Juan Martinez.
Was it Juan? Yeah, was it Juan?
The prosecutor.
Yeah, that was Jody's right.
Yeah.
She did. I mean, he went at her, and she did a really good job of like staying calm and, you know, I was pretty impressed with it. You know, these many years removed. So if anybody's bored, there's a supercut out there.
I tell everybody to watch her trial. I think it's a great trial. Just to watch her. She's quite a study. Yes. I mean, I've always said it. It's just it's
She's
incredible.
a piece of work. She's a piece of work.
She is something. You know,
Yeah.
again, like that's one to study, right there.
Yeah,
You know, though I could not watch that documentary that came, or that thing with Casey Anthony. That thing that came out on Peacock or whatever recently. I could not watch it.
She's something, yeah. Hi, Snell. She is.
The Casey Anthony thing was too much.
Yeah, she to me is a worthless person. I can't entertain anything from her. She drives me crazy.
Terrible.
She got away with it. She got away with it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I could take Jodi Arias, but not her. She's just.
They're roughhousing Judy, but they're loud.
What should I order for dinner? Italian?
Pizza.
I think I want.
That's what we get.
I agree, Angelique.
I feel like pasta.
Sounds good.
I'm eating slotchkis.
Our Schlotzky's closed down about 5 years ago, and I miss it. I like your soup.
Smoky bacon cheesy.
Mmm.
Oh, I can't. I can't stand tuna, Judy.
You can't stand what?
Tuna bake.
Oh no.
I can't stand tuna anything. Ugh.
Oh yeah, she has a high IQ, Angelique. We went through that last night, the highest IQs. Yeah, we went through that. You had a chicken Caesar salad, Muka?
Who has a high IQ? Jody?
No, yes, Jody, yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say not Casey.
You don't need cheese, Judy? You don't like lasagna because it has cheese? Huh.
I thought I couldn't live. I eat cheese like every day, which is not good, but
I love cheese.
love it. Can't go without it.
Me too.
I gotta put it on everything. You know, this guy, the Bryan guy, the one for this murder in Idaho, he reminds me of a celebrity, but I can't place it. Does anybody have a thought on who he reminds you of?
Is it David Schwimmer from Friends?
I was gonna say, I thought it was Ross, but it's not. I don't
Well,
think it
are you
is.
talking about Brian?
Yeah, he reminds
To
me of
me,
somebody.
To me, Brian really, I don't know, some people might disagree, but there was this movie series called Evil Dead when I was younger, and he resembles the lead character in it.
Is he well known? Because I'm not really good on, like, I don't know a lot of celebrity people. So is he a well known person?
The character was named Bruce Campbell. And let me see if I can find his name for you.
Because I was thinking, I was thinking about it too, and I'm like, does he look like Ross from Friends, David Schwimmer? And
That's
I'm
what
like,
I thought.
maybe?
Ross from Friends.
That's what I thought too. But then I'm thinking, like, but it's bugging me. It's like I think that it's somebody else. There's somebody, and it might be somebody I went to high school with. Because did go to high school with a guy who kind of like resembles
No, he reminds me of someone too. He's got a very common face.
Yeah.
Maybe mommy might be able to bring up a younger picture of Bruce Campbell.
I know. I'll try, but I know about a movie. Does anybody remember this movie? And a lot of you really help me out. This guy was on like a business trip or something, and he was with this other guy, and he had curly hair like Brian's, but he had these giant flashcards that he had his little kid at home with the mother doing, and he was like always writing this kid who was like 8 years old or something about his schoolwork, and he was a real stickler. Kind of reminded me of that guy from American Pie, that Eugene guy, but he was different than that. And I can never find the name of that movie and what it is, but he had these giant flashcards for his kid, and he would be calling, and every time he would talk to the kid would be like, "Hi, Daddy, hi. Oh, are you doing your giant flashcards? Are you doing your giant flashcards?" That's all he wanted to know. Are you doing your giant flashcards? And I think, because it kind of reminds me of, like, he's that type of guy, but you said it's Bruce Campbell?
I'll put it in the side chat. Yeah, yep, that's what I would search for. And I'd go as far as even search for pictures from the movie Evil Dead, because he actually, I don't even want to actually say it while we're live, but like, he resembles the guy a lot in the face, and in that movie's it's like a horror series of some sort, Halloween. So it kind of makes it even worse. But when I first seen the picture of him with that gaze, that's the first person that popped into my mind was Bruce Campbell from Evil Dead. Younger looking version of him. Nowadays, he's an older guy. I was trying to figure out oh, there it is.
I don't know, in some ways, but I think this guy is much better looking.
Yeah, let me show you. I put on here.
Who's better looking?
The actor.
He's got a very common face, this guy. I think. He's not unique looking. He's got like common features.
Like, you remember when he was pulled over and you had it paused at one time and he had like his eyebrows pinched?
Yes, I do.
And his lips were flatlined and he looked so serious and cold.
Yes.
That's as gruesome, as bad as it is. Like, that picture of him holding that chainsaw is like, that's what made me think what I thought of when I seen him in that body cam, because he does resemble him a lot in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's just like maybe too many coincidences. The dark hair, slightly sunken eyes, distinctive nose.
But I think he's like nerdier. That guy's like cooler. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he looks nerdy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Family flow 380. He's 185 now. Hey, Emily Castro. Just wanted to let you know that I appreciate your content. Thank you so much, Emily Castro. I appreciate that so much. You never can give up, Tracy. You got to keep going.
What's in the name says Google actor Ben Schenkman and see what you think.
Good actor, Ben Schrankman. All right, Google actor. Good. All right, let me do it. Ben Schrankman. Okay. Yeah, I see that. Yeah, yeah, I see that. Could be, yeah. So this is from Law and Order. He's in there. Yeah, that could be one. Something like that. They must be thrilled that we're looking this up. Yeah. Oh, and they're comparing me to this guy. Oh, that's great.
Right.
Great. That's what I've always wanted.
Mr. Bruce Campbell, if you see this stream later on, please forgive us of our
No, wait,
sins.
and this guy's got, you know what they said, eyes above ear.
Yeah, what
ear.
is that
But
all about?
look at this. This guy's just has. If you go to the corner of his eye, like you said, it's above his ear. Should you be in fear?
Everything. Yeah, I've never heard of such a thing. Have you? Have you guys?
I have heard the thing about the forehead, but not about the eyes above ear fear.
Me neither.
Maybe it's Ted Bundy that he reminds me of. Because I'm seeing a side by side of him with Ted Bundy, and boy, he does kind of look like him.
Yeah, it's creepy. But he looks like, I think he looks like Ross on Friends.
Yeah, he's sort of a Ross Ted Bundy mashup.
Hybrid.
I think it's his eyes that really remind me of Ted Bundy's eyes. Those, I don't know.
Yeah.
I swear, every time I see him, I feel like I know him. Like
he looks like a serial killer. He does.
You know, though, if he came to my door, knocked on my door, and said, "Ma'am, my car broke down. Can I?"
I'd be like,
I would be, sure, come on in. Like I would not ever think. I would not be afraid of this guy by his.
Oh, I would. I'm afraid of everyone though.
If he was dressed in like
see?
regular clothes, like I just would be like, sure, you could use my phone, or like
One
back
of
in
the
olden
dads
days
said that too. Did y'all hear that in the interview where one
No.
of the did you hear it in the interview where one of the dads was saying that he kind of like said exactly what y'all are saying, like he wouldn't have classified him as a threat or anything if he would have seen him visually. And see, I'm different. When I look at the picture of that man, I think maybe there is something there.
Me too.
My gut has a flutter. I think of something, so
Yeah. But I'm saying under normal circumstances, like in normal clothing, and if he came up to me, say at a mall, and said, "Ma'am, could I borrow $1?" I wouldn't think like, "Oh, this guy's because he looks like a upstanding, buttoned up shirt, nothing. He doesn't look like.
But where else would a killer try to get access to you if not at a mall?
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Like now that I know, it's too late.
Yeah, I know. It's like now that you're baked in with a little bit of bias now because you do look at him a little differently. But so I'm kind of looking at it like pretend I didn't know that he killed 4 people. Like if I just saw him walking down the street, he would. I don't think I would get weird vibes from him. Yeah.
For me, it's his eyes. And that's the only thing I associate with the gut feeling is his eyes. Because when he looks, when you're looking straight on at him, there's something just different there about him.
Muppet Beaker. Okay.
Like, let me take a few seconds to think about this.
Yes, I did thank her for it.
Okay.
Thank you, Deborah.
Yeah, I just walked out of the room and I just saw it myself,
Okay.
so I didn't know.
That's all right. Okay. All right, so here's the Muppet Meeker. Oh my goodness.
Anything happened today? Anything new?
Just about the furniture being moved out of the house, really, and everybody just discussing this affidavit and what they think and all of this stuff.
Any new comments on the affidavit?
Tons, trying to figure out what we're trying to figure out. Did he see her? Did he not? How did he do this? What about the knife sheath? Did he leave it there purposely or not? Why did he go back this time? Where was he for those 3 hours? You know, all the stuff in the affidavit that we're all talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you eliminate all the media from today of everyone calling him a moron, idiot, and stupid, Mommy hit the nail on the head. There's not a lot of updates, but there is a whole lot of media from today of him being called a moron, an idiot, and stupid.
I mean, I think there's two explanations. If he saw her, he was just like stuck like a deer in headlights, and he just wanted to get out of there because I think he thought he was in there for much longer than he was. He must have thought it took a lot more time than it did. I'm sure it felt like he was in there forever, and he just thought he had to get out. And so that's if he did see her. And if he didn't see her, then he just didn't see her. He was too preoccupied. But that's the reasons why he didn't kill her. Either he didn't see her or he saw her and he was just thought he had to get out. He didn't have enough time to kill her. Thought he was in there for too long anyway. I don't think he spared her because he wanted to spare someone.
Yeah, I agree.
Or because she wasn't his target per se.
It was for his benefit in any way, either way. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it wasn't like, oh, I feel bad for you.
Right. He would have just slashed her.
Yeah.
I mean, there has been a few media organizations that have tried to get a little extra content out of the whole twist on why the police weren't called like 4 or 5 minutes earlier. But, majority of people feel the same way about that. You know, those humans that survive, just let them be and heal. And it's not going to be easy because they have to testify anyways. So let them heal in whatever aspect they can and leave them out of this man's.
Yeah. Because it is no fault of theirs. Let's just say that she called the police right then and there. I think that the 4 souls were beyond saving. I don't think I don't think anybody could have saved their lives. So,
no.
I don't like when they're like, well, why didn't she call the police? We don't know what was going through that poor kid's mind. I mean, she's 19 or whatever. I mean, I don't even know what I would do. If I opened my door and I saw this guy,
I would call the police immediately. I don't understand why she didn't call the police. That was crazy to me.
You know what? I kind of had a similar one.
Caroline, her bedroom was on the first floor, right across from the sliding glass door by the kitchen. She slept on the second floor.
Yeah.
Right. He was right there.
I think, you know what? We all think we know what we would do until, like, kind of like when the police pull you over, you think you're going to be calm and cool and collective, and then you become like a babbling lunatic. Like, I think that this girl her mind was telling her, basically to protect yourself. Like, okay, I'm going to live in denial. Maybe that was a friend, or somebody, a prank, or, I'm just going to go lay down. I'm just going to go hide under the covers. I'm going to, like a little kid. I mean, I think we all resort back to that sort of like.
Or what the affidavit said, she froze up.
Yeah.
That's what the affidavit says. That the
affidavit. And she locked the door.
Yeah. I mean, the affidavit does speak on her behalf to a certain degree for her to up to a certain point where we can say, we do have the facts.
So if you're scared enough to freeze up, aren't you scared enough to call 911?
But I think this is where like cognitive dissonance theory comes in, where your mind will try to make as much sense of the whatever's currently happening as possible. It's like a protection method. So it's like you see this guy and you think it's certainly not a killer, right? Like, what are the chances, right? So maybe you're thinking, oh, maybe it was Ethan's fraternity playing a prank on him, or you pick something that's possible to save yourself from having to live in the complete horror of the fact that, you know, perhaps 4 of your roommates, especially with, you know, I think as you age, maybe you're less likely to do that. I don't know. I've never been put in this situation.
Yeah,
so
maybe.
That's kind of the thought there, is that cognitive dissonance where you're trying to make sense of what doesn't seem sensible at the moment.
I always go to worst case scenario.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
And, you know, I know too, like,
Yeah, I saw that
kind of
in
silly.
Cheever, but I think they doctored that photo up because he doesn't look like that. I think they doctored it up to make him look a lot more like Ted Bundy, because a lot of people are comparing him to Ted Bundy. I don't see Ted Bundy at all in him. Not at all.
Well, and Ted Bundy was a man of many faces too. He grew the beard, and some of his. I mean, some pictures of Ted Bundy side by side don't even look like the same person. He's at one point he slimmed down so much so he could remember when he escaped. He escaped through a hatch in the roof of the jail, and he had to like lose something like 30 pounds in order to fit through it. So there are some pictures of Ted where his face is really gaunt, really thin, and then there are some where he's got full facial hair.
Uh-oh, Nikki, you muted yourself.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Too fast.
Yeah, I don't know that much about Ted Bundy.
Yeah, I watched that documentary.
No, she wasn't on TikTok, Roy. That's wrong. It was Zaina that was on TikTok. See, there's a lot of misinformation.
It's so different than what I expected. Like, she's on TikTok, DoorDash guy's there. She was up. It just, Kaylee was playing with the dog, supposedly. Like, everything was going on in this house when this was happening. I thought everyone was dead asleep. Like, this makes such a difference to me.
Yeah. And I think that Dylan thought the noise above her was was Kaylee playing with the dog. But what that does speak to is that at 4 o'clock in the morning, it's not unusual for somebody to be up playing with the dog and getting DoorDash. Like, it's been a while since I've been in college, you know.
Right.
And I know that we all kept crazy hours, and, you know, so it does say a lot that, you know, at my age, if somebody was hanging around in my house at 4 a.m. now, like, the first thing I would do would be call the police, because it would be so uncommon. But for them,
right,
maybe not so much. That's why I'm thinking that she may have been startled, but I think she may have rationalized it. You know.
But it doesn't look like the lights were all out and everyone was sleeping, and he came anyway.
Was such a kind of a smooth operator, Ted Bundy. You know, he could turn it on. This guy doesn't strike me as being that kind of person, like where charming, you know, like that smooth operator deal. You know.
Yeah.
I think Ted Bundy even told the police, and with his demeanor, where they allowed him. Didn't he crawl out a window?
I think this guy took a.
He escaped twice.
Huge chance.
Twice. Yeah.
Because he fooled him. I mean, smooth, you know. So this guy doesn't strike me as that.
Does anybody think he took a huge chance going into this house?
Oh yeah, this was a risky, you know, on the risk meter. Go into a house at 4 o'clock in the morning with people still awake, you know, multiple people in the house. This wasn't a single victim crime. Yeah. It wasn't in a controlled environment. You've got a house next door that's got a camera. I mean, of all the
I thought it was a huge risk.
Yeah. That's why I think, like,
he didn't pick an easy spot.
Yeah. And that's why I think, like, if it was, let's say it was, you know, this whole thing about targeted, not targeted. If it was one girl, why would he not just snatch her when it was just her? You know, on some walk home from school, or, you know, why would you, you know, pick to, you know, have to kill the roommates and the friend that slept over? And
yeah, it seems odd.
Or if his targets were Madison and Zaina, why not? But they may have rejected him. Maybe he asked them, "Let me drive you home from work," or let me do this or that, but they didn't want to go with him. They wouldn't go with him. Maybe that's what sparked the whole thing. Maybe he was trying another way.
And he couldn't get them any other way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And he wanted to get both of them, and the only way he could get both of them was to go into the house and get both of them.
Well, and he was running out of time. If he did really want to kill Kaylee, right? Because wasn't she going to?
She was going to go. Well, no, but I don't think Kaylee was his thing. But remember, it was getting close to Thanksgiving. People were going to go away. Maybe people, they're going to end this semester. They wouldn't be back till January. And I don't know. Something was.
Wasn't she getting an internship though, Carolyn? Didn't one of the girls going to Texas for some?
Yeah,
internship?
that's Kaylee.
Right.
But
maybe she wasn't going to return.
Right, if that was his target, but I don't think she was his target.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You think it was Maddie?
I think it was Maddie and Zaina.
I think he planned that house.
Hey,
for a
Linda T,
while.
look what she did. She gifted. Thank you, Linda T. That's very nice. She
Well, he
gifted
did go there 12 times before filling
5
them.
memberships. Thank you.
Wow. Gifted memberships. I haven't seen
So
that
if
for a
anybody
while.
sees an accept button and you accept it, you'll get a free membership from Linda T for a month. Isn't that nice? Thank you, Linda T.
Very nice, Linda.
Liza
Well,
Ward got
Linda
one.
T.
Tammy Flo got one. CR Decor got one. Danielle was gifted one. Elizabeth W was gifted one. Oh, well, you gifted your membership. Memberships, they're going to get a membership, which means that they will be able to do member things, like go into the Zooms after the show. We have Zooms after the show, Linda. If you wanted to have that, you can buy your own membership as well. And, yeah, and do that too. Thank you, Linda.
Very nice, Liza Wood,
yeah.
Tammy Flo.
But,
Was it DM that said that she heard somebody say? What did she say that somebody said? Somebody's here, or
yeah,
someone
there's somebody
said-
there's somebody here. Mm-hmm.
The affidavit didn't say though who said that, right? Did
Just
it
what her,
surprise
no,
you?
they just said that she thinks okay, I think it was that she thought Kaylee
Kaylee?
said it? I believe it was Kaylee. Let me pull it up.
Kaylee, I think.
I think so, but I just want to pull it up.
And I can't
Yeah,
imagine how terrifying that must have freaking been.
I think he had that house in mind for a while. He'd driven past there, a dozen times.
12 times.
But I really think he wasn't focusing on isolating one or two of the girls. I think he planned on entering that house. Why did he drive past the house so many times, prior to doing this? I think he was casing it out. I think he planned on doing this in that house.
Yeah,
And
she
killing
thought
all
it was, she thought it was Kaylee. A short time later, Dylan said she heard who she thought was Kaylee say something to the effect of, "There's someone here."
So why didn't she call 911?
She would have to say that loud, right? Because Kaylee would be upstairs from her,
Well,
right?
That would be so fat. I mean, like, given the timeline, if that was Kaylee that said that, I don't think she would have time to call 911. A review of records obtained from a forensic download of Zaina's phone showed that this could also have been Zaina, as her cellular phone indicated she was likely awake and using TikTok at 4:12 a.m.
That means they saw him coming. Why wouldn't they scream if they saw him coming?
Well, no, it could just be that they heard somebody. Oh, I think someone's here. It did not exactly, there's people that came and went in that house, and it was Saturday night. So maybe they were like, oh, I think someone's here. But not necessarily that they were scared for their lives.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it could just be, I think someone's here.
Those people-
Right.
And then, that was to scream or something. Why, if not, if you have a house that people are coming and going, and I think someone's here.
She could have even thought it was Jack.
Could have been. Yeah, I don't think whatever. Yeah, it wasn't.
Well, the DoorDasher just left, so again.
And maybe she heard that from the
wouldn't think it's
DoorDash.
a
I think
murderer.
someone's here, and it could be the DoorDash guy that she's talking about.
right.
We don't know.
Your mind isn't going to go to especially if again, it seems to be common that these kids are having activities at 4:00 in the morning. It's not like our houses, right? Where everybody's,
Right.
well, not everybody's asleep, but
Exactly,
us
Linda.
lunatics are awake talking about crime, but nonetheless, like if somebody knocked at my door at 4 a.m., I'm not opening it. I'm not getting DoorDash, right? I'm
Right.
thinking,
Then you're like, well, who's here? But yeah, they had a house that was, people came and
Right.
went. It's just.
came and went. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it mustn't be that uncommon, you know.
Yeah.
But from our eyes, you know, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning. Somebody says somebody's in my house. I'm calling the police right away. They're probably
Right.
like, oh, who is it? Who's here?
And they wouldn't think anything of it, right?
Yeah, exactly. They would be like, oh, who's stopping by, or who's
Right.
drunk,
Who
or
got
Yeah.
whatever, drunk at the
Right,
frat
who
party
can't
and
walk
can't
home,
drive
or-
home,
yeah.
or who's going to crash on the
Exactly.
couch, you know?
Yep.
I get it. Yeah. True.
Yeah, because when we read that, we filter it through, you know, we filter it through our
Me too,
experience
Linda.
now, and it's like you have to kind of put yourself back at that, like, you know, time when, you know,
Mhm.
people, you know, in college when, you know, things were, you know, people could come and go in your house, or if, you know, if you went through that at all. I mean, even in college, I had a pretty big party house, but I don't think anybody would walk in my house at 4 o'clock, but
But
it's different
plus,
now.
if all the girls have boyfriends, you don't know. And then
That's true.
Kaylee had a dog, and she had a boyfriend living just around, you know, a couple houses away. Maybe he was coming to get the dog. Maybe, you know, there's a lot of things.
Right. And also maybe taking the dog out to the bathroom, that could have, you know, if you heard somebody go up and down the steps, that may not really
Right.
trigger anybody's, you know, sensibilities. You know, it could be, oh, Kaylee must be taking Murphy out to the bathroom. So
Right.
I don't
Yeah.
think,
we'll have to explain it. All the
I don't think they said
noise.
the dog was in the bathroom. In the affidavit, it says the dog was in the bedroom, I think.
Yeah, I think the extra bedroom upstairs
Haley's
is
bedroom.
how I read it. The spare bedroom, is that, or
There was
Not
a
the
spare.
bedroom where
There
the
was a
girls
spare
go.
bedroom upstairs and downstairs.
yeah.
That, you know,
Dog was in Kaylee's bedroom.
but the dog was in Kaylee's bedroom.
And it was at the bedroom where the two girls were killed, or was that's Maddie's?
No, that
right?
was
Where the
this
girls
kind
were
of the
killed?
spare one. The one that was, yeah. When I say spare, they weren't being used by a person that night.
Yeah, yeah.
The killer must have put the dog in Kaylee's room.
Well, or she had it in her room. I don't know. Maybe
think
they were calling Jack because the dog was sick. The dog might have been vomiting. The dog might have been, you know, we don't know why they were calling Jack.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
Kind of
reasons
funny
they
too
could.
that the camera didn't pick up the dog barking until 4:17. You would again think like, okay, I'm a dog owner. As soon as the person doesn't even have to get to my front door. My dogs are hearing, you know, the rustling of the gate. They, you know, they've got that super sensitive hearing. So it's kind of funny that Murphy didn't bark, because we know the timeline, right? What we think is he parked out, like, you know, a few minutes after 4. We think that he got into the house probably, I don't know, let's say 4:10. Let's give him a couple minutes to park and walk there.
Yeah, but maybe he was
Wonder
so
why-
used to that house, people coming by, that he didn't bark
True,
for everybody.
right,
That
right,
you know,
again.
he got used to people.
And maybe he didn't bark until he, felt
Threatened, yeah.
Danger.
there was
And he
some
might
more
have
danger
been
going on.
sleeping at that time, and who knows?
Yeah, I have chihuahuas, so you know they're like lunatic.
Yeah.
Like they literally, you know. So I'm basing my thought on that. They bark at everything, so
Or Brian might have known he was going to be possibly dealing with a large dog, so he planned in advance and took treats.
bring a muzzle. Yeah, I mean he could have. I'm just glad he didn't kill him. I'm glad he spared the dog at least.
Yeah, I wonder why he's, because he's a vegetarian.
Yeah, maybe he had some fondness.
That is so hilarious that he spared the dog and killed the people.
I know, killed 4 people.
That's like
Crazy.
height of irony.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, it's crazy, but I
Weird.
just can't. Your dog barks at no one, Angelique. What kind of dog is it? What kind of dog is Kalani? Hi, Kalani. Hi, Lou. Thank you, Lou.
Got 86 likes tonight, y'all. Thank y'all so much for clicking that like button. Appreciate that.
I used to keep treats with me when I was going into houses, Ann said. Yeah. A lab.
Do you think
Okay.
that Bryan saw the DoorDasher arrive? Was
Maybe,
he there a
maybe,
little
maybe
before
that's
4?
one of the reasons. Yeah, they don't mention like the cameras. You know, when they say her food arrived at 4 o'clock, well, is that because they saw the DoorDash car at 4 o'clock? If they did on the cameras, which then he did too. You know, maybe he was. It's hard. There'll be so much that'll come out in a trial where we'll see all that, and this is just, you know, the probable cause affidavit, and we haven't seen the bulk of the evidence. Plus, there's so much more that's come since this has been written from his house, from his office.
How did he not know that the food wasn't for all of them, that they were all?
I know. I would think, like, if you saw the DoorDash guy pull off, I would be like, okay, not tonight, right? Like, everybody's just too awake right now for me to creep on in there. And but again, we're trying to use like our logical, like,
Right.
you know, how logical was he thinking, right? Like, maybe not so much, but
Yep.
we might be giving him too much credit. Maybe he was illogical at this point.
Yeah.
He wasn't thinking logically. He couldn't have
We could
been.
have done this so much better. We would have done this so much better, right?
What's
Like, I don't
confusing to us now
understand.
is
Yeah.
probably not confusing to law enforcement. More, yes.
That's why it was.
They have a lot more information, exactly, and they know. And a probable cause is just a probable. It's just there's so much left out of it, even in Dylan's own story, that they can go in and clarify things in the interview, and you will see her interviews. It's always going to be released, and so all of it will come out and make sense. Because they go over and over everything. They don't. They keep there. Well, what do you mean you saw him? Like, well, how did you see him? Where was he? Like, they just don't go. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, if you've watched the interviews, they go over and over things, and they write a written statement, and then they interview them, and then they have two people there.
And they'll
you know,
interview
like,
them over multiple days.
yeah,
Like,
so
back,
can you come back
and,
in? And they were re-interviewing people. Remember when they said they were re-interviewing people? So yeah, so maybe once they found out and they got more information that is Bryan, then they were trying to really see, do you know anybody up at WSU? You know, have you been up there? You ever did interns? Trying to put connections together.
He definitely targeted. He wanted someone in this house because you wouldn't pick this house unless you wanted someone in it.
Yes, Linda, right? It's terrible. And
It's not the easiest house. On the.
what if someone used something like ether? Yeah, I don't think he did, though. I don't think he used ether or anything like that. Let's see something if there's any new updates. Let's see. Other than if you didn't hear, they moved like mattresses and some small things out of the house, loaded them onto pickup trucks. Let's see. Furniture and mattresses were loaded into 5 vehicles this afternoon. Let's see what this is all about. Someone's saying that in this picture here, they're saying there's They're saying that's blood. Well, let me look on the larger picture. I don't see that. I think they... Well, you can see something here, but it's in a zippered pouch. God bless you. I don't know. It could be a shadow on there because there's a shadow that goes all this way. And they're circling here, but if they're looking at that same color pattern is going right through there. Yes. Could it be blood under there? Yes. Yes, it can be a shadow too. Is anything? People are going up and she putting that picture through all the paces, changing exposure.
Yeah, I mean, from what I can see, you've covered all the newest new. And when I can see, Mommy, it's just people basically using the fact that we actually do know who the perp is to actually make content. In other areas, what it looks like, it's like people, we can all read the affidavit and see who the perp is.
Well, here is another little thing here from, it says that the court having before it the defendant's motion to preserve the crime scene and evidence, there being no objection by the state and good cause appearing now, therefore, it is hereby ordered that the crime scene located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho, including the home, outbuildings, trailers, vehicles, and what does that say? Hold on, I can't see that word. Something there shall be preserved with means, which means the house will be locked. Crime tape will remain on site. Police presence is not required. The crime scene will remain preserved until February 1st, 2023, or until further order of this court. It is further ordered that all samples and evidence collected or generated by the state in this matter, including but not limited to bodily fluids, blood, tissues, notes, slides, photographs, or other relevant information, be held and preserved by the state for the defense. It is further ordered that this order shall remain in effect until further order of this court, and it was ordered and signed by the judge, Megan Marshall. And that was on this 30th day of just the day he was arrested. That's why they stopped with the cleaning. so quiet. Let me see. I want to just see if that. Oh my gosh, a 6-year-old boy is in custody after allegedly shooting a first-grade teacher in Virginia.
What?
And so the teacher's in
And
critical
it was
condition.
intentional. It was intentional.
It was
It was
intentional?
intentional?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
No
Get a
way.
6-year-old woman.
It was
This
not
is-
an accident.
You've got to be kidding.
A Virginia elementary school teacher is in critical condition after she was shot by a 6-year-old boy in Newport News. The city officials and said the shooting was not accidental. The student began arguing with the teacher in a first-grade classroom and then pulled out a gun and fired a single shot. The teacher's injuries were life-threatening. She's said to be in her 30s. Rich Neck Elementary School was put on lockdown at around 2 p.m. as police responded, and the lockdown was lifted at 3:20 p.m. The 6-year-old is in custody. He was taken into custody immediately after the shooting. Oh my gosh.
That's when you go arrest the parents, because there's no way a 6-year-old has a gun. There's no way a 6-year-old would even have anger issues if there wasn't some problems with the parents there.
The
There's gotta be
individual
something
is a
going on.
6-year-old student. He is right now in police custody. Police Chief Stephen Drew said, "We have been in contact with our Commonwealth attorney and some other entities to help us best get services for this young man." The chief
Oh my
said that there
gosh.
was some improvement in the last update they got on the teacher's condition. It's a dark day for Newport News, the city's new mayor, Philip Jones, said. "We're going to learn from this and we're going to come back stronger." Newport News Superintendent George Parker III said officials were making sure services were available to students and staff after the shooting and classes would not be held on Monday.
Oh my gosh.
Jimmy,
Yeah,
That is
great.
insane.
keep that blood pressure down, Jimmy.
That's what? Oh wow, 67-11. That's good.
Gosh,
I just hate to hear stories like that, because what you have to think about is that
That's
like,
crazy. A
he's
6-year-old. You know, we thought the 10-year-old was bad. A 6-year-old. What are we gonna have? A
The parent-
3-year-old in there now?
uniform.
This is
What are you
crazy.
talking about? 6 years
But
old.
you gotta be thinking, like, how many kids right now are put in a home similar to that? You know, that doesn't have a gun. That just won't happen. Like, their kids are really, like, I think that what I'm trying to say is that
Yeah, that
people-
there. I mean, it's
when I hear
crazy.
things like this, it's not an isolated case. You know that this is an outlier in the fact that this kid had a gun, but like, I think that there's really
Well,
lot
yeah,
of
and listen
trouble.
to this one. A Nashville sound engineer shot dead by police after he allegedly kidnapped his wife and stepdaughter at gunpoint. A Grammy-winning Nashville sound engineer was shot dead by police on Thursday after he allegedly kidnapped his wife and his stepdaughter at gunpoint and greeted officers with a gun. Mark Capps, 54, ignored warnings from SWAT officers on the scene to put his weapon down. Nashville Metro Police spokesperson Don Aaron said that Capps woke his 60-year-old wife up and their 23-year-old stepdaughter at 3 a.m. on Thursday and brought them into a family room, telling them he'd kill them if they left or called for help. But after sunrise, he fell asleep, and the two women fled the home and ran for help. Police obtained warrants for Capps' arrest and for kidnapping and aggravated assault, and the SWAT team approached the house Thursday afternoon. Body camera video shows the officer at the front door demanding that he show me your hands, and a second later firing through the glass door. As the SWAT members were on the front porch area of the home, he actually came to the door, opened the door with a gun in his hand. At that point, during the altercation with the SWAT members, he was fatally shot. The two women are safe at the Family Safety Center. Police have not discussed a motive for Capps' actions on Thursday, but a post on his Facebook page indicates his brother died earlier this week. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and the Metro Community Oversight Board are investigating the shooting. Capps has worked with a number of big-name stars such as Big and Rich, Alabama, Blake Shelton, and Vince Gill. His Grammy wins came in 2005, 2006, and 2007. for engineering albums by Jimmy Sturr and his orchestra, which won Best Polka Album in those years. Capps' father, Jimmy Capps, was a member of the Nashville A-team of session players who recorded with the likes of Elvis Presley, Patsy Cline, Jimmy Rogers, Bob Dylan, and many more. Jimmy Capps was a member of the house band at the Grand Ole Opry for a number of years. Wow.
So just he got killed, though, the family.
He got killed. Yeah, his wife and stepdaughter are with family.
Did you read the one out of Utah earlier this week?
Yes, that's a murder-suicide, yeah.
That's brutal. 8.
Oh my gosh.
5
Yeah.
kids, I think, right?
They say that today's Friday, right? But there's supposed to be a 2-hour dateline about how, let's see, how someone's Fitbit, how Connie Debate, a 39-year-old mother of 2, was found dead in the basement of her Ellington home just before Christmas in 2015. Her family waited 6 years for her case, dubbed the Fitbit murder, to go to trial. The special will air on NBC at 9 p.m. on Friday and features interviews with Connecticut State Police detectives, members of her family, and the state attorney, Matthew C. Gdansky, who prosecuted the case in Rockville Superior Court last spring. Prosecutors brought forth evidence for weeks, pinning a fair amount of their case on data from Connie's hip-worn Fitbit. Data from the device contradicted the timeline that her husband repeatedly gave about an alleged bloody home invasion. He told investigators and the jury that he came home the morning of his wife's death to find a camouflage-clad intruder in their home who stole his wallet, shot his wife, attacked him, and left him tied up to a folding chair on the floor in the kitchen. Connie's Fitbit, however, showed that she was moving around after she was allegedly shot by the intruder and did not reflect what data would likely show if she had been running for her life. The prosecutors argued the state called an expert witness on such devices and their data to stand to support their case, while the husband's defense team, led by Trent Lima, argued that the data collected by Fitbits and other similar devices are unreliable. Investigators also uncovered evidence of Richard Debate's extramarital affairs, including one with a woman who was pregnant with his child at the time of the murder. The woman has since given birth to their daughter, and in 2016, and she testified at trial. Over 5 weeks, attorneys questioned and cross-examined more than 130 witnesses and introduced more than 600 pieces of evidence. Jurors spent only a few hours deliberating before they returned their verdict the same day. The jury found Debate guilty of murder, tampering with physical evidence, and giving a false statement. He has pled not guilty to all charges and maintained his innocence throughout the trial. On the day of sentencing, saying, "I will never stop seeking justice for my wife, Connie, who I love and think of every day, and I will never stop seeking justice for myself." Judge Corinne Klatt handed down Debate's sentence, said in court that Connie Debate's murder was brutal, calculated, and it was an incomprehensible act that was committed at the hands of a person who at one point vowed to love and protect her. Gdansky said in court that the crimes were part of a selfish, cowardly, evil plan that he argued Debate created to cover up his affair and avoid a divorce. Debate 46 was free on bond for more than 6 years as he awaited trial. He's now in custody at the McDougall Walker Correctional Institution in Suffield. The couple's sons live with Connie's sister. In a series of emotional victim impact statements, Connie's family claimed that Richard Debate spent all of the couple's estate, which they claimed was mainly earned by Connie, leaving just $6.24 for their boys to inherit. Attorney Lalima said after Debate's sentencing that they would appeal his conviction. He continuously argued at trial that there was not enough evidence to convict his client. Oh. That's a trial I would have liked to see, and I don't know why I didn't hear more about that one.
Didn't they use a Fitbit or an Apple watch with Chris Watts?
They were saying that, but they didn't really.
Yeah, he didn't go to
much.
trial, obviously, but I thought it's kind of interesting. I've heard a couple cases now where, they've used, an Apple Watch or a Fitbit or something like that. It's interesting how technology, interfaces with, with crime and death and such. It's very interesting. I find it
Oh, now they've got an.
harder to commit the perfect crime anymore.
What do they have here? A couple in Pennsylvania. And they had a home invasion or something. What the heck is this?
Snow remover has a message in chat that there's supposed to be new updates for the Vallow Daybell case.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you. A homicide investigation is underway after an elderly couple was found in their Pennsylvania home on Tuesday. State troopers performing a wellness check on Delaware County home discovered the bodies of Rita and Richard Zajko, 69 and 72. Their deaths have been ruled homicides, but how exactly they died is undisclosed. Anyone with information is asked to call the Pennsylvania State Trooper K Media at 484-840-1000. That's a shame. Okay, let's
What
see.
city was that, Carolyn?
Pennsylvania.
What city? Did it say the city?
Pennsylvania. Can you hear me? Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know if you said the name of a city though.
Oh no, I didn't. They didn't give the city. Let me see here. I'm trying to see. I thought I saw something. Pregnant beauty. Oh wow. 20. This is crazy. 25 25-year-old was killed in California en route to. Looks like she was pregnant for twins. A 25-year-old pregnant California woman was fatally shot before New Year's while riding in a car driven by her father on their way to her aunt's birthday party. Marissa Perez said her father was picking up a birthday cake before heading to the party. Investigators say they don't believe the shooting was random, but they have not revealed a motive. Perez's mother said the driver pulled up alongside the car carrying her daughter and started shooting. She was shot several times, including once in the head. She was 25. She was about to be a mother in 5 more months. She was so happy. She was so excited. She seemed like a whole new person, said the victim's brother, Isaac Tolentino. I've never seen my sister glow like that. Investigators have not released a description of the suspect or the suspect's vehicle, and they believe she was the target of the shooting. Well, that just happened to that other lady in Texas, though, too, right? It's crazy.
If anyone else would like to call in, there's the email.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for hitting the like button. 93 likes. Almost there.
Trying to see. I did see Lori Vallow here for a minute. Saw her just a second ago. Here. That's just like another trial that's just never going to happen. Lori Vallow. New motions filed. Latest developments and alibi. The newest developments in the case against. What?
It's an eternity for this Vallow case.
I know.
Kind of like Letitia Stout,
Oh, I know. It's ridiculous. I know.
It's like, I can't even.
I know attorneys can pass away in the time it takes to get this. Yeah, seriously.
I know.
And then that's even more delay. They have to get.
Crazy.
The newest developments in the case against Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell have yielded some interesting changes for the upcoming trial after several motions were filed from each defendant. A major development in Vallow's defense is a notice of an alibi, which states that Lori Vallow was not present for either J.J. Vallow, Tylee Ryan, or Tammy Daybell's murders. Vallow claims she was in her apartment in Rexburg with 3 others while the murders of her children were taking place at her brother Alex Cox's apartment and nearby. I knew she would do that. During the time frame of Tammy Daybell's death in Salem, Idaho, Vallow states that she was in Hawaii with 2 of her friends. Let's see. So what is this? Let me open this up. Download this.
Isn't she being charged for conspiracy to murder? I mean, you don't have to murder somebody to be charged. Conspiracy is just knowingly
Right. And well,
planning.
and Tammy, yeah.
You know, so it's like, I don't care where you were when the person was murdered. The fact that you conspired.
Okay, come now. Lori Vallow was in her own apartment in Rexburg, Idaho, when J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan died in the apartment of Alex Cox in Rexburg, Idaho. Defendant was with Melanie Gibb, David Warwick, and/or Chad Daybell. Lori Vallow was in Hawaii when Tammy Daybell died at the home of Chad Daybell in Salem, Idaho. Defendant was with Melanie Boudreau and Audrey Baratico. Okay, and then, so she's got that. And let's see, Lori Vallow's attorneys also filed a motion to declare her ineligible for the death penalty, stating she does not have the requisite culpability to be charged with the death penalty. Lori Vallow, along with her husband, Chad Daybell, is facing charges relating to the death of her children, Tylee and JJ. She has been held in custody separately from Chad since early 2020. The couple is also facing additional charges in connection to the deaths of both of their late spouses, but they have continued to plead not guilty to any of the charges against them. In the motion, attorneys state the case of Edmond versus Florida as the result of that case determined that someone who does not participate in a murder or attempt to kill someone cannot be given the death penalty. A person who neither kills nor intends to kill and has not the requisite intention of participating in or facilitating a murder cannot be put to death. In the case of Edmond versus Florida, a man who was a getaway driver for a robbery gone wrong had been charged with the murder of 2 victims and had been sentenced to death. The Supreme Court took up the case and determined the getaway driver could not be given the death penalty, given that he did not participate in the murders and his punishment should reflect his involvement. For purposes of imposing the death penalty, Edmond's criminal culpability must be limited to his participation in the robbery, and his punishment must be tailored to his personal responsibility and moral guilt. Vallow's attorneys argue that while the charges may differ, felony murder versus conspiracy to commit murder, the concept should remain the same regarding whether the defendant was charged as a principal or accessory in the crime. They further claim that Lori Vallow is not a participant in either carrying out or conspiring to kill and did not have the foreknowledge that her children, Tylee Ryan and J.J. Vallow or Tammy Daybell, would end up dead. So yeah, one day before sending the notice of alibi on January 4th, Vallow's defense sent another notice that the mental health defense would not be used during the trial. Her attorney stated in the motion that her mental health had been thoroughly vetted, and she also received 10 months of care from mental health experts employed by the state. According to attorneys, Vallow has also reportedly stated she does not want to proceed with that defense and has not authorized them to take that step. However, the motion says if she is convicted by a jury, then they plan to call witnesses and experts to testify at the sentencing hearing to discuss her mental health in order to possibly lessen the severity of her punishment. One of the last motions filed by Vallow's defense includes a request to have a confidential joint settlement and strategy sessions with Chad Daybell and his defense in order to discuss their options. With settlement proposals, mediation options, and the trial fast approaching, Lori and Chad would like to be able to talk together in person and on the phone about their options. The motion reads, the attorneys for the party will attend any in-person meetings and phone conversations, but will not record the conversations and will not use the conversations as evidence. So that's interesting, huh? Although the motion was filed by Vallow's defense and there has been no confirmation that it was a mutual request, there has also been some activity regarding Chad Daybell's defense. Recently, a request was made by Daybell's attorney to extend the window to submit a questionnaire for the jury pool selection. Prior to the request, an extension on the questionnaire deadline had already been granted by Judge Stephen Boyce from October 13th to January 9th. Citing that extension, Judge Boyce denied Daybell's motion, stating that the defense had ample time to prepare and any delay at this point would cause an unnecessary burden. The defense still has the option to submit a questionnaire by the listed deadline. However, if they fail to produce one, the court will submit a questionnaire in its place. The trial, which will take place in an Ada County jury, was scheduled to begin January 9th after numerous other postponements. However, that date was vacated in October, and the trial was postponed until officials could make a determination about Vallow's mental competency. Judge Boyce lifted the stay on Vallow's case in mid-November and ordered the trial to be rescheduled after Vallow was found to be mentally fit to proceed to trial. A new trial date has been scheduled for April 3rd, 2023. Gosh, that seemed like a long time off. Now it seems like it'll be here right away. But who knows? They'll probably delay that and delay it again somewhere else. Hold on. Okay. So, do people...
Yeah, that whole case is a nightmare, right? Like nightmare case from hell.
Yeah, right?
The way it was handled from the very beginning.
Well, in her Caroline, did you say that she did not authorize her defense to use that "I know that I was not with my kids when they got killed" defense? Is that what you said, that she did not authorize that to be used? This alibi that they're proclaiming?
So I missed a big part because my son walked in here and I would... What did you
okay.
say? Can you say it again?
So I was asking if, when you were reading that, did Lori Vallow say that her attorneys cannot use that alibi of "I wasn't with my kids when they died or when they were killed"? Is that what it said? That she did not?
No, it's a number of motions. One, that she didn't participate in the murders, and she has an alibi to show that, where she doesn't want to be considered for the death penalty either, because then they quoted the case. So she has an alibi to show she wasn't there. Then another one to say she's not eligible for the death penalty because she wasn't there and didn't participate in. And then there's another one that she wants to get together with Chad and discuss things.
So they can conspire more. That's great. I mean, actually, I just looked up, if you hire a hitman, you can get the death penalty for that. So I don't see how this is much different.
Well, okay.
She's basically admitting my kids were with my brother and he killed them and I knew it. I mean,
yeah.
She didn't call the police. She wasn't startled. She wasn't, she didn't report them missing. I mean, she knew they were dead. So I don't see how that's much of an alibi.
That's the question about the case. Is anything any of them say true?
Right.
Yeah. I'm just tired of them, really. I'm just over it, like those two.
Right. Yeah. Hi, Debbie D. Do people think that Bryan was on Reddit? Yeah, there's the people that think Bryan's everywhere, but it was a Facebook group that most people are intrigued with, but a guy named Papa Roger, who was talking about the knife sheath and things that weren't out in the public at that time, that they're getting like freaked out about who that was. Yeah, so, but it could have been other people too, that some people that have been privy to that information through whatever, and law enforcement to try to scope things out. I don't know, but yeah, it's very possible.
100 likes. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Let's see. Do you think Papa Roger is Bryan? Do I think Papa Roger is Bryan? No, but I think it's weird. I think it's
highly
weird.
suspicious.
I think it's weird. It could be law enforcement throwing something, but it's weird. It's weird.
It's not just some random person. I don't think it's
just the way they asked certain questions. Was weird. So it is weird, but it said that the profile was deleted the day after he was arrested or something, so he wouldn't have access to do that unless, he got a message to somebody to do something like that. I don't know.
So weird. Very weird.
Yeah. Very weird.
Is that gray stuff okay to eat? Because it comes off the skin. Yeah, it's fine. You sure? I got it. Yeah,
You think it is? You think it is a family member, Padres? So if you think it's a family member, you're thinking that Bryan told his family all about this? I don't know, why is the chat so slow here?
I don't think they would post about it if you told them about it.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's what I personally think. I think it's a family member of the victim that got the information from the police. Oh, of the victims, the family member of the victims?
Yeah, really.
I don't think that. No, I don't. No, I don't know.
It's now or never. Or no more.
No more.
What?
It's now or never. Say no more.
Oh. What's that, Ada? Is that a game?
Trout.
What?
Trout.
Trout.
I was just looking through the affidavit again. I was looking for timeline, and I saw this one part, and I don't think we talked about it, or at least I wasn't on when you did, where DM said that she heard a male voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you."
Yeah.
Whoa.
Should I get out of here?
No, you don't have to.
I wonder who, let's see.
Where'd you get trout from?
She heard crying coming from criminal's room.
Yes,
DM then said that she heard a male voice saying, "It's okay, I'm here to help you." Oh. Sounds like the Silence of the Lambs or something, like crazy. Like, who knows, was he saying that to the person he was killing, or?
I wonder.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, it's creepy. It's.
I'm here to help you, like,
I'm going to help you. I think I'm
oh
going to
yeah,
help you.
I'm gonna help you. Like,
Yeah, but it could be Ethan
it
that
must
said
be-
it.
What?
It could be Ethan that said it.
What?
that's true, that
No,
is
not
true.
you, not you. Another Ethan, honey.
Dang.
Yeah. um,
But obviously, so much was unheard that maybe she thought she heard that said.
Yeah.
Look at how much she didn't hear. Her
Yeah.
hearing on the whole, everything that was happening obviously was very limited.
And what it's very
So-
limited was put in the affidavit. So when we hear her interview and everything that she really did say, there might be a lot before and after and in between. They're just putting in
Very
limited
true.
stuff to get that warrant.
Yeah, that's true. They could have excluded.
Yeah, they're going to exclude a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they have to be truthful in what they say, but they can certainly exclude it as much as they want.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I guess it's just, I should say that was probably an assumption on my part. Being as no one did call 911, I'm assuming she didn't really hear really well what was happening and all the noises and what was being said or sounds being made, I guess,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we just don't know. We'll just see what.
I have a feeling Ethan was attacked before Zaina, though.
I
What
think,
was that
see, my,
now?
my thinking is that he went in to get Zena, and Ethan was going to stop him. And I think he did something quick to Ethan to
Yeah,
disable him
Yeah, take him
before,
out.
because Zena had a phone, remember?
right.
Couldn't have her calling 911 or something. So he must, it's okay, if he said that, I'm gonna help you, But
the killer said that.
if he did, you know, he could have said that, or maybe Ethan was laying down, dying, and said, I'm going to help you. Like maybe that was his last words. I don't know. To her, because she was crying, remember? And if she saw him just kill her boyfriend, she might have went into some kind of shock and just, you know, started like crying or whatever. Standing there, and he said, "It's okay. I'm going to help you."
Right.
That could have been the killer. It could have also been, it's something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that we all think that like you should hear like people screaming bloody murder, but the fact that
They
the
can
audio,
go into shock.
right,
You know, you see people go into shock when they see something
Exactly.
like you can't even believe it's like.
Exactly. That's what I think.
Are you
I
kidding
think
me?
we are all thinking like, you know,
Especially
like a
you
horror
see
movie where
somebody
everybody's
just, you know,
screaming.
just killed in front of you. You know, it must be like, what the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that audio on that camera didn't pick up any hysterical screaming. It picked up a dog barking, a whimpering, and a loud thud. So it kind of does support, like the like how we were all saying like earlier, like how did they not hear? You know, wouldn't there be screaming? And
Right.
No, I don't think so. Because that camera would have picked up, if it picked up Murphy barking in the upstairs bedroom, right? It would have picked up Dana and Ethan screaming.
Right.
They're much closer to that camera. So there was no massive hysteria. So I think it was a shocking. I mean, imagine you're just sitting there playing, you know, scrolling through TikTok, eating some Jack in the Box, and all of a sudden, you know,
All of a sudden, somebody comes in and kills your boyfriend, and you're like, what?
And it's over so fast.
Fun. Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
And it's over before it starts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, really? You had a big statewide internet outage, Nicole? So that's why we're missing all of our Massachusetts viewers. Crazy. Welcome the Massachusetts viewers back in now.
Yay.
Come on, Massachusetts.
Bring it.
So much will come out. If it goes to trial, and if it doesn't go to trial, so much will come out in this. The discovery will still be released, and you'll be able to see a lot as well.
What do you mean it might not go to trial?
If there was a plea deal.
If they take a plea.
No, if there's a plea deal, it won't go to trial?
Right.
Right.
Like what
You don't
kind
have
of plea deal?
to, that's one of the benefits. So if the prosecutor says, you know, plead guilty to 4 counts of capital murder, for life sentence, we'll take the death penalty off the table. One of the benefits of that is not having to go to trial, not having to parade witnesses in and have your whole life, you know, on parade. So, kind of like why Chris Watts probably took the plea deal. He didn't want to go through the trial and hear about himself killing his wife and kids. So, some people will take the plea deal.
But you'll still be able to get the discovery, so you'll be able to see the interviews and things still, even though it doesn't go to trial.
Yeah, so you get to see everything the police collected.
Oh.
Yeah.
Minus the trial. You just don't get to.
You don't hear how they were going to plan the case out, or what, you know, the defense strategy would have been, you know, all of that.
Whatever his defense strategy was, it was baloney anyway.
But we don't know if he'll do, you know, he may say, no, I'm not, he's maybe living for the trial. He wants the trial, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah, he wants the trial.
If he wants to be known and stuff, and he thinks that then he's going to want the trial.
It seems like he wants it.
Right.
You know, speaking of the trial and knowing, like with Vallow, you know how they had to move that trial to Ada County.
Right.
With this one, I think it might. I don't know. I mean, Vallow was big. I know a lot of people followed that. I don't know how it compares to this one, but I'm assuming they're going to have to obviously move this out of that, you know, small county that is that Moscow's in or whatever. So I just don't know if there's
Yeah,
anybody that didn't follow this story in Idaho. Like,
Right.
I can't imagine, it's not that they need somebody that didn't follow the story. They just need to find a jury that will be unbiased and will listen to,
They're gonna have a hard time
Yeah.
finding that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm gonna get off.
Everybody knows about this case.
Yeah. I'm gonna get off for a little while. I'll be back on later. Anybody that wants to be in the Zoom, talk about this. If you're a member, just you can email for the number. It's on the community tab. If you're a member, you should be able to see it. And you can come in and talk. We keep a Zoom open 24/7. Aside from the live. So anybody that wants to keep discussing the case, and Linda, I don't know if you understand that, you can keep discussing the case. You could go on. You don't have to show your face. You can keep it like that and discuss the case or just discuss anything in there. So, and we do movie nights. We look at documentaries. We look at stuff. So it's something you might be interested in. But anyway, I'm going to log off live for a while now. But I'll be back later, and thank you so much, those that gave super chats. Thank you so much for those that came, all the new subscribers, all the new members. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. Okay, bye, guys. God bless,
Bye.
and prayers for all that need them. We'll see you next
Good night,
little
everybody.
bit. Bye.
I see you later.
Later.